The Connor Happer Show.
Had a bad experience, Josh. Mm-hmm. Would you like to talk about it?
In high school, I had a girlfriend who was trying to change my appearance to be more like Harry Potter. I don't know what tipped me off.
You were like, are you trying to Harry Potterize me?
I don't know if those were the exact words, but that was pretty much the beginning of the end for that.
Wow, what a time.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and breezy for your Monday. Watch out for a little wintry mix early on, mainly south of the metro. Otherwise, can't rule out some patchy fog throughout the day. Not going to see any sunshine. South-southwest winds gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour. Highs around 34. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dreamtime Saving Traffic Center. Hope you had a great weekend. It's good to see the warm temperatures returning. There's hardly any activity on the roads in the Omaha metro area. No accidents to report. It's pretty much smooth sailing if you have to make a morning commute. Otherwise, be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Come on, when was the last time you had your Fernando's fix? It doesn't get any better than lunch, dinner, carry-out, even catering from Fernando's. Get your Fernando's fix. 114th and Dodge, 75th and Pacific, and FernandosOmaha.com.
I'm Chris Rose with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Lions took down the Bucs 31-23 to advance to their first NFC Championship game since the 1991 season. Jared Goff with 287 yards and a pair of scores as the Lions will now travel to Santa Clara to face the 49ers for the NFC title. For the Bucs, Baker Mayfield for 349 yards and 3 touchdowns, but threw 2 crucial interceptions, one to Derek Barnes with under 2 minutes to go to seal the game. In the AFC, Tyler Bass missed a potential game-tying field goal with under 2 minutes left as the Chiefs eliminated the Bills 27-24 to advance to the AFC Championship. Patrick Mahomes threw for 215 yards and 2 scores. Mahomes and the Chiefs will face the Ravens in their 6th straight AFC title game appearance. The Bills' season ends in the divisional round for the 3rd consecutive year. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Most Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
The GOAT is coming to Kansas City. Sporting KC will host Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, at the loudest stadium in the world. See Johnny Russell, Alan Pulido, and the rest of your hometown team take on Messi, Luis Suarez, and more at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday, April 13th. It's the soccer capital of America versus the greatest of all time. Get your tickets while you still can at sportingkc.com.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Churco. Receive two $25 gift vouchers for just $25. From fresh pastas handcrafted daily to house dry-aged steaks and focaccia bread baked daily, Churco is perfect for date night or any night. Churco features crafted unique cocktails as well as an extensive Italian and American wine list. Churco, located at 192nd and Q and CIRCOOmaha.com.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Kevin Moret from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, over 23,000 clients have sought treatment and Mentality for low T. Most of our new clients have tried online treatment and mail order medications. Your hormones balance your physiology and influence all areas of your mental and physical performance. There are subtle but critical aspects of treatment that will be missed if you work with a provider that does not see you. It's just too risky to go it alone. Come partner with us today, and we can make this year the best you've ever looked, felt, and performed. Schedule in Omaha at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen. And former Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez.
You know the After Hours Lounge is open from 6 to 8 p.m. when the sports schedule allows.
And guess what? I'm stopping by from time to time.
When Rob Love's off for the night, Adrian's going to stop by and talk all things Nebraska football, what he's been up to in the NFL, and you know we're going to still talk all things high school sports.
And who knows what we'll get into. Maybe you'll get to ask me some questions, so stop by from 6 to 8 p.m. and check out the show.
Brought to you by Bellevue University and Papillion Sanitation here on 1620 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone.
Nah, because we gotta finish, you know. Still playoffs, we're not in the dance yet, but I'm looking forward to next week, to be honest with you. I'm not even thinking about Super Bowl until we handle business.
We have too many good players, man, on this team. So many players that are difference makers, and we got a great defense. And so for us to not find a way, it's not right. So for us to finally have a game like this and pull through at the end was huge for all of us.
I envisioned that we would have a chance to compete with the big boys, and that's where we're at. All you got to do is get in. And it's about placing yourself the very best position to where you can move. You get a home game, and then maybe you get a second home game. And now all of a sudden it gets a little easier, you know? If you're able to get a 1 seed, you only got to win 2 games, right? And so that's always the objective.
I don't think it's a big change. I think it's just, again, we got to find a way to score one more point than they do. And every season, if you don't win, it's a failed season. That's the nature of the business. There's one happy team at the end of the season, really. And when it's not you and you're so close, it sucks.
All-time classic again. Every time we play one of Sean's teams, it comes right down to the end. He's done a phenomenal job here and a phenomenal job this year, like coach of the year level coaching. If we don't play them again, I'm good with that. I'm so proud of our guys.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Kevin James, I got 3 things to say, 3 words that are the worst words in the history of Buffalo sports. Wide right again.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. How we doing today on a Monday? Everybody good?
Some better than others.
You know why? You should be fired up. You should be ecstatic today.
Because it felt tropical at 25.
Yes,
is that
it's
sweatshirt?
warming
Is
up.
that home white or is that cream? It looks like an off-white. Is that it's a new one?
Cream.
My
Is it
friend,
cream?
that
It's
is
cream.
the sweatshirt of a team that's going to the AFC Championship game with a 28-year-old quarterback for the 6th straight year that my quarterback has never been knocked out of the playoffs before the AFC title game. That's what that sweatshirt is.
And last night, again, I had to be reminded of what the Bears could have had if they made the right decision in 2017.
Good morning, everybody.
Patrick would have found a way to win that game if he played for Buffalo. Let's put it to you that way.
Yeah, I think so. I don't want to put a lot on Josh Allen, but there was a throw.
I like
there
him,
at
but
the
Patrick
end.
wins that game.
Whoa.
There was a throw there
at the end.
I
wasn't going to go there.
Oh, I'll
what
go
do you
there.
mean not put a lot on Josh Allen? Josh Allen is more of a problem than the place kicker in that game.
Yeah, I that's why I said there's.
Well, you said you don't want to put a lot on Josh Allen.
No, I didn't say that.
The last two shots. That's what you just said.
No, I said I said I don't want to. No, I didn't say that
Because
I
did
said
he say
about the
didn't
throw.
want to put a lot on Josh Allen?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what I say. There's just things that come out of my mouth sometimes, I guess.
Oh, I don't want to go there yet. I mean, we got plenty of time. We got 4 hours to discuss the Bills.
We got to run the ball.
There was a throw. Okay, I'll just say that. There was a throw that should have been made by one Josh Allen, because everything I was hearing last night from Tony Romo is Josh Allen did everything that he could to help that team win that game, yet they still lost. So this one's going to hurt more. And then thinking back a couple plays that Josh Allen could have had that might have helped his team.
Yeah, I got some thoughts on the Bills. I got some thoughts on the Chiefs. I got some thoughts on the NFL, which the Final Four is set, and the Final Four is glorious. And the NFL is too big to fail, and the storylines are unbelievable. The sport just continues to deliver day after day after day, even though Romo and Nance don't deliver. But here's the thing about the weekend, like especially around here, because Saturday was a day of basketball, which if you're a Creighton fan, if you're a Nebraska fan, even if you're an Omaha fan, you went through the roller coaster of emotions, whether it be 3 overtimes, whether it be a game in which Nebraska about blew it again, but they found a way to win because Boo-Booey was boo. And then Omaha lost again with a shot at the buzzer to win the game. And then you have yesterday. And if you had a team that was playing over the weekend, if you had one of the teams that was playing the divisional round, I don't know if you don't have a vested interest in like a particular team and they were playing this weekend, how you did it. Because I'm telling you, man, the nervousness of yesterday, of watching my team play against the Bills, and that roller coaster of a game where the Chiefs had a role reversal identity. They went from being known for defense in the regular season to, oh my God, the offense is brutal, to the offense was exceptional last night. The offense was unbelievable last night outside of McCole Hardman, which we will get to. But I just being a sports fan, I don't care if you're a Chiefs fan, Creighton fan, Nebraska fan, whatever this weekend, you went through the entire roller coaster of what it is to be a fan. It was an unbelievable weekend. It was a great sports weekend, top to bottom.
It was. No, absolutely. But the hoops amazing on Saturday. I was asked, and I know we probably won't have time to it, but if you heard about the hockey weekend and the officiating, I literally was yelled at down on the ice as there was a review after the game on Saturday. You better be talking about this on Monday because this was horse blank.
Did you thank him for listening?
I just kind of looked back and I smiled.
Good morning, person.
Yeah,
who
it was.
yelled at him.
Saturday was a bad day at Baxter Arena, and we might have, because we will discuss. We have more on the college basketball side. We have an officiating issue in basketball, and it's not just men; it's also in women. The narrative on Monday mornings about the NFL was about the officiating most weekends, and college basketball, especially around here, had a bad day on Saturday. It's well known, and if you watch the Creighton-Seton Hall game, how poorly that game was officiated. The Nebraska game had a scenario. I watched an Omaha, Kansas City game where 5 minutes after something had happened, they reviewed and gave out an intentional foul.
Oh,
because
do that?
the officials didn't catch it, but the player from Kansas City came to the sidelines and he had blood, and his head coach asked him, "Why are you bleeding?" He said, "Oh, I took an elbow." And this was like 5 minutes after it happened, and they stopped and they looked at the so
better go to the monitor.
we have that. We all, I mean, in the NFL this weekend, there's some rules in the NFL that are absurd that they're going to look at, but then there's just simple, just the administering of rules. So we may have a full-fledged officiating issue in all of sports.
Yeah, then we'll get into baseball at some point. We'll probably look at certain things from that aspect as well until we have universal automatic balls and strikes, I'm sure, too. But the basketball part of it, and especially in the Creighton game, too. I mean, when you see...
Oh, we have sound from that.
We all know.
Oh, I bet.
I'm sure.
Oh, they're all timers.
We all know Mac, and we know that, he's... When it comes to guys that work the officials, having a reputation as a head coach to work the officials, I wouldn't say Mac is on tier one of that. When you're getting like images of him being held back by his players when he's trying to get his point across, like that's where and you're watching that with your own eyes too and saying, okay, yeah, he got hammered there. Where's the call there? Okay, yeah, there should be an and one right there. Where's the call right there? And it's so I think you get to a point, especially on the road, you're already going up against a great Seton Hall team that you feel like you're up against it too. I do not blame Mac at all, but I mean, I think just that image alone where, he's being held back by players at points when he's trying to get his point across tells you all you need to know about how that game was sort of getting out of hand, which was a fantastic basketball game, despite a lot of the physical play and especially some obvious calls that probably weren't made.
We'll discuss that because there's a lot about that Creighton win, and Creighton and Nebraska are both in action again tomorrow night, both at home. And look about starting about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about could I do both? So I've hit the Nebraska game. They play at 6. It's on Peacock. I play Ohio State. Creighton doesn't start till 7:30. So let's see, the Nebraska game ends at 8.
Pull an LA entrance and just walk in there and catch a little bit before going.
I don't know.
You'd almost have,
you'd
have to leave early. Yeah. You definitely have to.
I've done the trio of baseball games before, where I went and saw Omaha, Creighton, and Nebraska all play at home in the same day. I don't know if I could pull it off, but it was a big win for Creighton. It was a huge win for Creighton. Creighton and Nebraska both got much needed wins. But in the NFL, the Final Four is set. What a Final Four it will be. Detroit goes to San Francisco. I mean, there's storylines everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, who are the most complete team, and now they take on a team that's playing with house money in Kansas City.
Which is weird to say about Kansas City.
Yeah, and I'm here for the haters today. I'm ready.
Well, you're either one or the other.
Okay, I got boxing gloves in my car. I'll go out and get the boxing gloves, and I'll fight you if you want to be a hater, because I'm gonna hate you back with some facts. So I get it, Chiefs fatigue. Even I said to Rachel last night, I was like, God, Chiefs are like in every commercial.
Yeah,
like Kelsey is in like every single commercial.
Mm-hmm.
They're becoming most hated except for Jason Kelsey, because if you hate Jason Kelsey, you hate life.
Well, I mean, you like the podcaster and Cara Delevingne were together in a suite last night, and a podcaster dressed as a polar bear.
Yeah.
But I get it. I fully understand. Hey, as a diehard Chiefs fan, I've told the story. Joe Delaney made me a Chiefs fan when I was a little kid, and we went to William Jewell College to watch the Chiefs in training camp. And I've gone to a Chiefs home game nearly every single year since then. And there was a brief period of time where I had season tickets. I love my team, and I will never, ever, ever poo-poo this run they are on, because before 2018, they only had one playoff victory since 94.
You remember the Tyler Thigpen days.
Hey,
Damon Heward.
So they are in the greatest stretch of Chiefs football history, and I don't take it for granted. I do not take for granted. I got a 28-year-old quarterback who, for the 6th straight time, is going to the AFC Championship game. Now, am I sad that the Arrowhead Invitational is over?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, oh my God, wait a minute. That game was in Buffalo last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Did they not win a road game?
They won a road game.
Okay, they won a road game.
Full stadium this time too.
So I will never ever take for granted what's going on right now. And this will be the greatest run in the history of my lifetime. And at some point it's going to come to an end. And it may come to an end on Sunday in Baltimore, because Baltimore is a more complete team than Kansas City is. But you can't kill Kansas City. People make fun of Mitch Holthus. people make fun of Mitch Holthus on this radio station. All right. And because he said you can't kill the Chiefs. It's true.
Like Charles Barkley said, like cockroaches.
You can't kill the Chiefs. And are you, even though they're a slight underdog against Baltimore, and I think Baltimore is the most complete team going, and they have been for a while, and they're scary because they got an offense and a defense that go together, and they got a quarterback who is in tune with his offensive coordinator. Are you going to bet against him?
But you got to win it.
No, it's hard. It's hard to do.
You got to win the game.
Yeah, there's something about being there and having been there, and I think there was part of us that maybe looked at last night's game and said, at some point, it's got to happen for the Bills in this moment, or it's got to happen for Josh Allen in this moment. And yet, here we are talking about the exact same thing.
See, here's the thing. Okay, now I'm going to get defensive. I've been nice for a while. Okay, I understand. The Chiefs are winning. People got fatigue. Hey, it happens with a lot of teams. It happened with the Patriots. It happens with Alabama. It happened with Nebraska back in the 90s. I get it. But if you're rooting for that team and that's your team and you appreciate football and what's going on right now, you go, man, tip of the cap. Andy Reid, been a head coach 25 years. 11 of those years, he has taken his team to the conference championship game. Not bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
So here's the thing about the Bills. And most of the Bills fans I know, I love, they are passionate. They just want that one. They want that one. They don't want a Scott Norwood again. They want to break through. But help me here. With the Buffalo Bills and this narrative that gets shoved down our throats about the new Manning versus Brady era. Isn't it actually Mahomes against Phillip Rivers who is dressed as Josh Allen?
Yeah,
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think that's very accurate.
Okay.
That's a great comparison.
Why hey, there's a lot about Josh Allen last night. I mean, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
But then the Chiefs turned him into a passer, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think Josh Allen deserves as much blame as anyone for what happened in that game last night. But after I got done watching the game, and I had paced, and my heart was racing, and I'm like, wow, what do I do now? I don't smoke. Maybe I'm going to start smoking. I had been drinking.
Sniff glue.
I didn't know what to do. Wasn't that game one-sided last night? The score was 27-24, but wasn't that game one-sided last night?
Like you never felt Buffalo was going to win?
Like if Kansas City would have lost that game and I would have stepped back, I would have gone, God dang, there were so many opportunities. If you just go inside of Kansas City's offense, which is not on the field as much as Buffalo,
but they were effective.
They kicked their ass.
Yeah, they did.
The better team won that football game last night. Patrick Mahomes, much better than Josh Allen. If you would have told me in the morning that the Chiefs would be more of a big play team than the Bills, I would have called you crazy. But look what happened. The Chiefs offense just rolled over the Bills. They are a McCole Hardman mistake and a Josh Allen holding on to the football when the Chiefs tried to scoop and score away from that game being 34-24, and it wasn't close.
There was a moment in the game, and everybody, I don't know how much you've tuned out Tony Romo at this point.
Oh, they were Nance and Romo were the fourth best crew this weekend.
Yeah, I think it was a distant fourth. By the way, you're right on
scream.
The Jim Nance. I didn't pick it up as much last week as I did. He is now on a big play, a yeller.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is now in full-fledged.
Because he yelled on one of them. It was like, who's screaming?
Yeah, and so we can blame Tony Romo on that. He was talking about this during the first half. And I'll say, yeah, there was what Kansas City was giving up defensively. You had James Cook that was getting some yards at first in the first half. And so there was a little bit of taking it to Kansas City's defense there. And then they talked about it at the half. Who would you be more concerned for right now? And he continued to say, I'd be more concerned for Kansas City with the way that Buffalo is running the football at them. Never did we really get the same type of praise for what Kansas City did up front with what they did with Isaiah Pacheco and the fact that, Kansas City's offense was so much better than what you've seen pretty much cumulatively from the regular season. But the ground game was super impressive last night. Like that was the other part about Andy Reid and the type of game plan. And, he's a master being able to exploit weaknesses of a defense and being able to, let Patrick Mahomes be the type of quarterback he's going to be within that offense. But when you're running the football the way that they were, again, no mention. And I'm not trying to gripe on the broadcast, but as there was so much praise heaped onto Buffalo in the first half of the way that they
gripe on the
they were running.
You got to read my text messages.
Yeah.
Like Tony Romo wanted the Bills to win. Just listen to him after the missed field goal. That's fine.
There's
fatigue.
Zero praise of what Kansas City was doing better than Buffalo, and yet he almost kind of went back to the lazy approach of when Kansas City's offense is rolling. Well, it's because of number 15. Patrick Mahomes had a good game, but let's give the offensive line and Isaiah Pacheco a lot of credit there too, because what they did and how they set everything else up was huge. It was colossal, especially in the second half of that game where Buffalo just could not stop them no matter what they did.
So a couple of things about this game, which the score was close, but I don't think that the play on the field was close. Throws 20 yards down the field. Patrick LeVon Mahomes was 4 of 4, averaging 21 yards. Josh Allen was 0 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Phillip Rivers in the playoffs against Kansas City.
Misses, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's why I keep going back. I mean, put it on Josh Allen. He's got to take the brunt of it. The two last plays when they were in field goal range, especially on second and third down, that we have some discussions about Josh Allen. All right, I'm going to give you another one. Do you get inside of the total team DVOA?
No, I didn't look at it, and I don't usually, typically, unless it's something that's kind of brought up within the result.
Okay, so this is a huge stat that is used in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like the Warren Sharps of the world. This is their Bible. It is the defense adjusted value over average. In this game last night, Kansas City's was 7.7. Buffalo's was 4.7. That's a huge, huge gap. Now, as I fight off the haters, and I'm here to do it today, because I'm just going to fight you with facts. The last 25 years, because this is about perception as well.
Mm-hmm.
Who's been to more AFC championship games, the Jets or the Bills?
The Jets.
And the Jets haven't been in the playoffs in 13 years.
Yeah.
So I'm done with the overhype of the Bills. Fix your defense. It's an older defense. You got a good quarterback. He's going to need wide receivers. Get healthy. But stop telling me about the hype of the Bills, okay? Because you make your money in the postseason, and the Bills ain't making no money. They're making their fans miserable because it's the agony that you put the whole season into. Hell, you shoveled out your own stadium.
Yep.
You shoveled out your own stadium to have that happen. I'm glad about the Bills fans. They're not crushing Bass. Okay?
Yeah.
They're not crushing him because that would be easy to do. That's some low-hanging fruit. You should be going after your quarterback. And you know what? It's not Scott Norwood. Here also, I'm going to stand up for my friends with Bills Mafia. It's more like Lynn Elliott. Jimmy can relate to this. So, 95, Kansas City had a really good team. And Lynn Elliott was brutal that day at Arrowhead against Trev Alberts and the Colts and Jim Harbaugh.
And when they signed him, I remember thinking, oh, they'll regret this later in the season. And they did.
And Elliott missed a key field goal. And Indianapolis went on to win a road game in Arrowhead.
10-7.
Oh.
That's it.
So there you go. That's all. Weird game. It's so stunning to watch football when both teams' offenses are moving at will, and then all of a sudden they turn into a pumpkin.
Yep.
Like that is like startling. Like just because I keep saying Kansas City dominated the game. Their offense wasn't on the field as much. When their offense was on the field, they couldn't stop them. What? They only had, they were forced into 5 third downs in 8 possessions, and 2 of them were kneel downs. Is that right?
That sounds, yeah.
Okay. But when both offenses are going back and forth, they're scoring it well, and all of a sudden they hit the wall. It's like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, and that's why I think for Kansas City, it's a complete of a postseason game, especially with this way that this team has played, that you're going to see, because you did have the offense that was there the whole game, but then all of a sudden the defense in the second half, especially, make adjustments. This is something that Spags knows about. I heard this all the time from Dave Tollefson, and one of the guys that he respects more than anybody that he's ever played for, and having that ability to do that. Now, I want to get back to the perception of Buffalo, because it's funny you bring up the shoveling. I was thinking about that last night as the game was turning into the inevitability that, okay, it's over when Kansas City gets that first down on that last drive, is all the work in the last week that the fans put in to try to help out the stadium and, have the home game. But I don't, the perception, I don't know if, not that you're worried about this particular, Gary. I don't think anybody has to worry about Buffalo being in that same plane right now when it comes to the conversation into next year, because there were a lot of things that took place this year that were so different that I think you can finally end that conversation. First, you lost again, but second, you had your home game. You finally got your home playoff game. And I think that there was a moment during the regular season where people were starting to doubt Buffalo. I mean, sure, the Chiefs had that as well. But the difference is the Chiefs have looked like themselves and find ways to win, show the playoff experience, all of those things that have put them to the point that they're now going to play for another conference championship, where the Bills had that exact same familiar closure to the season and that unfulfilled feeling that all their fans have right now. And the bottom line is, you finally had the home game. How many times have Bills? Yeah, have Bills, exactly, because the last time Patrick Mahomes played there was in COVID. So how many times I'm sure Bills fans said, man, if we could have only had that game at our place, if we could only just get one of those games at our place, it'd be a different outcome.
And you got them at night. Doesn't matter.
You had everything working in your favor for this. If you were going to be the team that just needed a break here or there, well, you had it, and it still didn't happen. And a lot of it was very familiar again. So I would be hard-pressed, unless you are just the most optimistic Bills fan or someone who watches football from afar and says, well, the Bills, they're usually right around there, right? They're always playing the Chiefs, so I guess I'm going to believe in them. I think if you're watching the way that these two organizations are heading right now, how can you trust the Bills next year? How can you trust them in that situation next year? They finally had everything they needed, and they still couldn't get it done.
Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes. That's the bottom line. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have 13 playoff wins since 2008. Nobody else in the NFL has more than 7. He's special. Number 15.
He's just special
at quarterback.
Yeah,
and
he's just special.
And there is no other player in the NFL as an underdog, as a favorite, that you go into a game and you have as much confidence as you do when you have 15 as your quarterback. And I'll never take that for granted. Never take that for granted.
And and this is where a little bit of the Netflix documentary last year, the docuseries and quarterback, and you kind of got a chance to see Patrick Mahomes during the game and see the access and see the communication and just the overall confidence. Look, if you're a starting quarterback in the NFL and you don't have confidence, then, well, I don't know how the hell you became a starting quarterback to begin with. But the way that he does process things and the way that he communicates things, there's something about that type of player. I mean, any sport, you could have a point guard that way on your basketball team. You could have center fielder or shortstop on your team, that when you are on the field, everybody around you, doesn't even matter who the hell you're playing. In fact, the opponent is probably secondary, because if that guy's on the field and he's healthy and he's upright, then you always feel like you have a chance to win. And the things that he does, like you're watching again another game, and you bring up Josh Allen being one of the best running backs on that team, and he is. But then you get Patrick Mahomes not to be outdone, where it looks maybe a lot less athletic when he does it, but he does a little ball fake, and then he's just kind of tiptoeing down the sideline. There's so many things about what he does that I don't care how you scheme him. Go ahead and try and blitz him. Watch him slide up in the pocket. Like all those little things that you try to do to defend a quarterback, he just finds a way to beat you. He just finds a way to sort of, okay.
He has Pacheco, Kelsey, Rice.
Give Valdez-Scantling some credit last night.
And the Frankfurt Galaxy. And they're in the AFC Championship game again.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. And their stars were stars. Diggs wasn't very good. Kelsey was fantastic last night.
Yep.
And also another subtle point of last night that playoff Kansas City is built different is they went into Buffalo. Place was rocking. I mean, I can't. I'm going to try and get to the Kansas City Buffalo game there next year. Great atmosphere.
Nice.
People love football. Any place that loves the game of football and is knowledgeable about football, I want to be involved with. Is they went in there and all the troubles Chiefs have had this year with drops and just dumb football, and they had dumb football again last night, but they were able to overcome the cuteness of Andy Reid, is they had zero penalties for false starts.
Yep.
They had zero communication issues.
Are you saying winning teams do winning things?
Well, I think there's a difference when you get to the playoffs.
I'd see it in the NBA with the Spurs.
It's a whole different mindset. And last night they showed off. I mean, you look at the 4 teams that are left, what they've been able to do, and everybody has their flaws. And, I still think we're going to get a Baltimore-San Francisco Super Bowl, and I'm definitely afraid of Baltimore because I think they're a juggernaut right now. But look at how
they got to prove it.
Some have continued to roll. Some are playoff mode. Some survive. Like San Francisco is really lucky to still be playing.
Oh, yeah.
That is the epitome of survive and advance, where they got one drive, and Brock Purdy was hit or miss, but on the last drive he was hit. You got the Lions, who they learned their lesson from the week before. They were aggressive. They stayed aggressive in the fourth quarter. And now, outside of my team, they're the most lovable team left. I mean, I'm not like rooting for the Lions.
America's team.
I want the Lions to win a Super Bowl if it's not my team.
Oh, yeah. I for a team that's in the North that I shouldn't be rooting for at all. I mean, the Lions are the one team that I want to see at the very end, because listening to Campbell after the game, listening to Campbell throughout the season, but as I've said so many times in this program about Jared Goff, for a guy that I've made a complete 180 on, that I am a Jared Goff believer, and going into the season, I was the furthest thing from that, and how he's sort of leaned into the city and Detroit and just everything that I didn't expect to see Jared Goff when that whole trade took place. And then when Campbell, that introductory press conference talking about biting people's knees, and it's like, who is this meathead? What is he talking about? Like, they've made me come around on, wow, this actually works. When you have a coach that everybody in the locker room knows is authentic, well, that too, that is authentic, that everybody gets behind. Listen to Ragnow after the game yesterday, just asking what makes Campbell and all that. Like, how can you not appreciate that team? How can you not root for that team?
They have a head coach who understands the identity of the city that he works.
Yeah,
he was a dude.
Yep.
Well, there's a thing about Dan Campbell.
He was always
I really appreciate this about Dan Campbell, because 3 years to the date he had his press conference about biting kneecaps, and people thought this guy's a clown. Well, he has a GM who thinks outside of the box in Brad Holmes, and what they were able to do in the draft, like, they have constructed a really, really good roster through the draft. Like the pickup of Gibbs. Everybody knocks running backs and the value of the NFL. But if you draft a running back, you find a position within your system for them to prevail. And Gibbs is turning out to be a great draft pick. But the one thing I appreciate about Dan Campbell, one, he's a grinder. And you can tell that he is in tune with his team. Dan Campbell is one of those special people. Understands the identity of the city that he works in. The passion and just the quest, the desire, the want to win a championship. Man, Dan Campbell does something that I tip my cap. They don't have to be a football coach. They can just be someone I come across in my everyday life. Dan Campbell does the one thing that makes him an A-plus individual. It's all about how do they make you feel. And we can get emotional with his locker room speeches, but you can tell when his players talk, he has made them feel a different way.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing attribute to a human being, to have that kind of an impact, whether it be paid professionals or just in your everyday life. Man, Dan Campbell's an A-plus dude, and that's why I'm rooting for them to win the Super Bowl if it's not my team.
Yeah, I have the Niners winning the whole thing yet.
Must be nice
If
to
they
have a good
lost, if they
coach.
lost to the Lions, I wouldn't be upset at all, because that is the story that I love. I love great sports stories, but I love good personalities that we would get to hear from more and more and more. And
Media Week would be fun.
Dan Campbell is the guy that, again, just like Jared Goff, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, this is going to work. And like a lot of people, I literally had to. I know Chris Bober, who played with him, was speaking highly of him, and I saw that he posted some, so I had to text Bober and said, "All right, tell me about this Campbell guy," because that was a weird press conference, man. And he's like, "No, he's." And I think even Bober said, I don't know how great he's going to be in Detroit, because a lot of people have gone there and failed, but he goes, he'll get a locker room following him. I'm like, okay, and he's right. And just again, going back to Frank Ragnow speaking after the game, The dude was just beat up like crazy, and probably in most regular season games, they would have said, yeah, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and miss the rest of the thing? Listen, just like how he was talking about his team and what has kind of been instilled in him, and just like, the love that he has for all those guys out there, and the guy just being a warrior last night. Like, again, I feel like that just embodies what Dan Campbell, kind of to your point of what he sort of instilled into that locker room, but for people to buy into that. Like, I mean, you see that in college football. We talk about culture and all the time, but in the pro game, it can be a little bit different. You can still go out there, do your job, have some success, but to have that much love for it and the love for the people next to you that this Detroit Lions team clearly does. That's not to say the Chiefs or the Niners or the Ravens don't have that. It's just, it's expressed differently with Detroit. And I how could it not be? I mean, as you're pointing out, during all the post-game festivities this week and last week, not one person had left that stadium after the game. I mean, they're soaking it in, everything about it. So in a way, yeah, I think Detroit has kind of become America's team in the postseason, and it's a good story. And you know what? They're a pretty damn good team.
Yep. He's fulfilled a promise. He made a promise in that press conference 3 years ago yesterday. Promise to the city, promise to his team, and he has fulfilled that promise. That's pretty cool in coaching. When you make a promise and you do everything in your toolbox to make sure it comes to fruition. All right, NFC AFC Championship games coming up on Sunday. All right, here's the lineup for the show on a Monday. We'll talk a lot of basketball. We'll talk a lot of football. We'll talk a lot of officiating. Caitlin Clark getting run over yesterday. Accident, by the way.
I thought she took a charge.
It was an accident. No one's at fault.
No.
But the person that ran into her is on the social media team for Ohio State. That was grabbing content.
Yeah,
It was an inside job.
She had her phone out, and she didn't even see her.
The lineup brought to you by the 42 Degrees The Source by your mom's house. Jacob Bigelow stops by at 9. That's on Nebraska and Northwestern. And Danny Nee's story time, which Danny Nee had a good weekend in Lincoln. There is no doubt about that. So Jacob joined at 9. Amy Just will stop by at 9:30. It's all part of the lineup brought to you by the rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. What did I say? Did I just say the lineup was brought to you by 40
You did. Yeah. I had to look up there. I'm like, oh, did you get the old switcheroo?
Oh, they all bring you stuff.
All right, let's chat about the weekend of sports because, man, if you're a Creighton Chief fan, you're a Nebraska Chief fan, or if you're just a fan of sports, yeah. 951-1620. You can always email us in the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Hanley, 1620thezone.com.
Or on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
And Nick Hanley, 1620.
All right, off and running. Jimmy is here as well. Update coming up off the top of the hour. Also, we'll talk about how I got let down by my Polynesian porn on Friday night. Mornings with Sharp and Hanley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Looking for a new pipe or premium THC flower? Go to any 42 Degrees location and pick from the largest selection of quality glass pipes and premium THC flower. With buy one, get one 50% off sale, there isn't a better time to stop in and talk with our knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff. 10 convenient locations and buy one, get one 50% off sale. Why shop anywhere else? 42 Degrees, by your mom's house.
The Blackstone Meatball is where casual charm meets culinary excellence. Our diverse menu offers comforting pastas, fresh salads, hearty sandwiches, and of course, meatballs. Elevate your experience with a craft cocktail or a glass of wine from our well-curated selection. Whether it's a laid-back lunch, a cozy date night, or a catered celebration, the Blackstone Meatball promises upscale flavors in a casual, welcome setting. Visit us at one of our 2 locations, the Blackstone District or just west of Village Point on 180th and Dodge, or visit theblackstonemeatball.com.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska-brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company?
Do you want more control over your business spending? Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management platform designed to save you time and money. Ramp offers unlimited corporate cards with spend controls you can customize to stop wasteful spending before it happens. Ramp makes expense reports a breeze by automatically collecting receipts and matching them to the right transaction. You'll close your books in hours instead of days. Ramp allows you to see all of your company spend in one place, so you can make quick, informed decisions about your business finances. Plus, Ramp will share insights based on your spending to help you cut costs. Over 15,000 businesses have added up to 5% to their bottom line with Ramp. You can be one of them. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Now here's Davis downhill, floater up, good. He's getting every roll that the Jays aren't. And now Seton Hall has tied it. Here's Trey in transition. He got knocked to the deck. Mother McCree got knocked to the deck again. When's this kid going to get a call? Shireman down the floor, outside for Mason, takes the three. Now tried to get his pass outside, and it's intercepted by Adewusu. Two-man game, Adewusu. Oh, and they call the foul there. Oh, they call the foul there. Trey Alexander's getting mugged on this end of the floor, and they call that garbage. Down low, here's Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner works. Another no call!
I've heard enough. Yeah, that's enough. I mean, if you guys want to listen to it,
I have.
I mean, that's just
we did Saturday twice.
It was really, really bad, but yeah, I know our guy that runs the board cuts up all the stuff that Bishop does to.
It's become a bit on overtime.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the Nito stat of the night,
and they were really, really bad. I mean, it just we've been having this discussion. Trust me, as someone that used to do it, and I would still do it today if I had time. It's not easy. And I don't know if it's Twitter that has ramped up our discussion about officials or if it simply is we have in sports and especially in college basketball a officiating issue.
It's too much of a discussion not to be an issue. It's inconsistent. So
we're good. And I think I know where you're going. The eyeballs tell us it's not very good. It's not consistent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it gets just ramped up because Twitter, like, here's the craziness of Saturday. So I'm trying to call a game, and you have, what was going on in the Omaha game. That was a bad loss for Omaha. And I'm following, so I have my laptop open following live stats, but I'm getting, all the notifications. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the Creighton game because it was pandemonium that I was trying to put my finger on. But it's like once a game goes south with officiating, Twitter becomes wow.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the weekend in the NFL, whether it be poor spotting of the ball, or the rule about fumbling through the end zone. Twitter doesn't help officiating, but we do have to have a discussion, especially in the college basketball game, men and women, about why officiating has become so inconsistent.
It's
like
the thing.
like it was on Saturday. The Creighton-Seton Hall game was poorly officiated.
Yeah.
I mean, it just ruined a all-time classic because the Alexander 3, the Ashworth bucket, yeah, those are some of the biggest memories. But how many more memories out of that game are because of officiating calls?
Right. And that's the problem right there. When you have a great game, two very good basketball teams playing 3 overtimes, and more of the discussion is about the officiating. Like, Jimmy, you probably remember this. One of the great big Monday games, the Buddy Hield Oklahoma team.
You're talking about Game 6 in 02. Never mind.
In Lawrence, and I think that one went into overtime as well. And I remember even for
it went multiple overtimes.
Yeah,
we didn't want it to end
for years. People were talking about how great of a game that was, and if I recall, I don't remember officiating being discussed in that one. And you get to a point, and you're right, where when it starts at some point in the game, where there's a questionable call, and then that sort of parlays into another one. Nobody can get off of it from that point on, because every little call that could probably be missed on a regular basis or be a 50-50 call, that if it doesn't go the way of the rooting interest that you have, then you're quick to jump on that. And you're right about social media as well, because then you're going to get all of these different images and all these different captions of, okay, look at this here and look at what happened there. And people are going back on their TVs and they're resetting, different spots and getting you screenshots. So then all of a sudden you have like the evidence right there on TV. And I'm here to tell people, and I know they don't want to hear this because we were talking about this off the break about hockey, but this is a small example.
No, I don't think it's a small example.
But those officials,
the hockey was the officiating was rough at Baxter Arena.
It was
Friday and Saturday night.
There was a whistle from Friday and Saturday that refused to be swallowed, and I think that maybe the thing that sort of culminated at the very end of that game on Saturday is there was a call when that game was completely in hand for Denver. There was a call with about maybe a minute 15 left that even us in the box couldn't believe. We're like, oh my gosh, you're going to call this now? Let's all just go home. This thing has been a whistle fest to begin with. And so I think that there was a little frustration, just the fact that something was being called that wasn't so egregious. You tend to lose control of the game when that happens. We've talked about flow of the game, where those whistles do not allow any type of flow of any sport, whatever sport we're talking about. And yet there's always this belief, and I heard this Saturday night, and I know you've heard this at the many games that you've done before too, and we see it on social media when we're watching Nebraska or Creighton, and you start to indulge a little bit into that. They're not against your team. Okay. That's a good point. There's such thing as just bad officiating. And I think that's what people need to realize right now. Because I know what frustrates people more than anything is you think those calls, because they go against you, you think that this crew is out to get your team. That's not the reality. The bigger problem is this crew is extremely inconsistent, and they give off that vibe that it is the case. And so we talked about, especially in the Big Ten last 2 years, that officiating had been really bad in Big Ten basketball. And again, it's as easy as this. Maybe this is the safe way to describe it, but it's as easy as consistency. I've always said this when it comes to any type of sport, that if you are, and I always use baseball as an example. You think of an umpire strike zone. If you're not getting the low strike, but you're consistently not giving the low strike, well, guess what? Pitchers and hitters are going to adjust alike. But if you're moving that strike zone around throughout the game, then it's impossible for the teams to adjust to that. It's impossible for the pitcher to adjust to that. It's possible for the hitter to adjust to that. And what you think might be a quality pitch to get a big out, it's not called. You're frustrated. As a hitter in a 3-2 count, a pitch that has not been called a strike, all of a sudden is called a strike, and you're laying off of it. Maybe a pitch you would normally go after, but you're laying off of it because that hasn't not been called a strike. All of a sudden you get rung up on that. That's frustrating. And those can happen in big moments. I think there are moments in especially some of the college basketball games we've been watching before, where certain things are being called and you think, okay, we're not going to be able to have that full physical type of game. So we got to be mindful of it. And all of a sudden the other team is getting away with certain things from a physical standpoint. Then you think, okay, are we opening things up, or are we going to be a little bit more Is this game going to be called a little bit more tight? As long as coaches and players have a clear understanding of that in the first minutes of it, and it stays that way, you're fine. That's the consistency that it lacks.
That's the human error element is part of sports, and there is never a perfect game. I'm with you. Inconsistent calls compared to bad calls. The inconsistency is the one that drives people nuts.
And it should.
In the NFL, my big thing is how you enforce the rules. I mean, you can't all of a sudden be changing part of the rules during the course of a game. Looking at the Lions-Cowboys game.
Mm-hmm.
But inconsistency by officiating is much worse than bad calls. But here's what I'm noticing in college basketball this year. One, we have gotten a little bit older, and so some really good officials of late have decided to retire. And so when John Higgins isn't on the floor, John Higgins is a really good official.
Yeah.
Okay, so you miss that. There's some other guys around his same age that are like, man, I'm in my 60s. I'd rather be doing something else. And so they have retired. And you've got this weird, whether it be the Big East or the Big Ten or even the Summit League, you got a lot of new guys that they're starting to move in. And they're not necessarily paired with experienced officials. So you may have, let's say, a C-level official that's all of a sudden's got two new guys on the crew. And that's an absolute, that is a recipe for disaster. So we've got a lot of new faces. And I'm noticing with a lot of newer officials, they're influenced by the crowd.
Yes.
And they are bullied by coaches.
Yep.
And so all of a
100%.
sudden, they got rabbit ears and they're listening. And either they will become one-sided or they just stop making calls during the course of a game.
Yep.
Now, here's another part. So that's on the men's side. And I know that they're well paid and everybody in the sport knows it's an issue and they're trying to fix it. And they also, for the most part, coaches understand how difficult that job is. They just want consistency.
Yep.
You're right. If it's a foul 4 minutes into the game, it better be a foul in the last 4 minutes.
Yep.
That's all I'm asking if I'm a coach. Now, I think an even greater issue is college women's basketball because of Caitlin Clark and LSU and the exposure it has gotten is taking off. Yesterday, we had a women's basketball game, boys, that was a lead-in to an NFL divisional round game. Never has that happened.
Right.
Ohio State and Iowa. Caitlin Clark is the best thing for an economy. When the Clark eyes come to town, you're going to pack your place. 18,660 were there. Ohio State won in overtime. But watching that game and watching women's college basketball, and they want women's college basketball to go to the next level, you got a major officiating problem. In the women's game, they can't keep up with the game. The athletes are bigger, stronger, faster, and the ball moves. This isn't walk the ball up the floor.
Right.
This is some high-level basketball on the women's side that the officials on that side can't keep up with. And so you get bad officiating in the women's game. And that becomes a narrative which sometimes will cloud how much growth that sport has had. So, yes, do we have an officiating issue? I think we have an issue with people that aren't officiating. And then it gets magnified when you have social media involved and you have screenshots and everything. And now I'm not as familiar with the NCHC and the veteran officials that are there, but I don't know. I mean, that's that product. You have, you invest to have the best of the best, the three on the ice, the referee or the two referees and the two linesmen, the best of the best working every single Friday and Saturday night series so that it doesn't become the narrative that the officiating is woeful in this league and it's overshadowing some of the great play.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up the NCHC from the standpoint of having new officials and new faces in there too, because that is the case for the NCHC when it comes to the hockey product. And there was a young guy that was on the crew that I think I saw once earlier this year in one of the non-conference games, and I didn't have a horrible weekend or anything like that. But a lot of the guys that I've seen they were carryovers from WCHA to the NCHC. A lot of those guys have aged out. A lot of those guys have either gone on to be at a supervisor role or have just, kind of gotten away from it. Heck, one guy I know that had been there for a long time actually got a Division II college baseball coaching job. So he just left this year. Dan Drager is a great dude. But the reason I bring up, having a younger guy and the inexperience, we talk about whether it's women's basketball or men's college basketball, It's a real thing, because until you understand, especially the league games that you're going to be involved in, and the pace of that league and the reputations that certain teams have, when you're around that long enough, you understand how a game might be played between those two. In a way, you're kind of in the scouting department for both of those teams, because you understand what this team has, how this guy maybe tries to beg for calls, and what this team has, and maybe they're a little bit more physical. Maybe when they get a chance to have a little bit of space, but they're closing in, that stick might come up a little bit. The little things that I think a very experienced group that understands each night what you're going to see on a nightly basis, and maybe what that week or that month or that season's point of emphasis is going to be, and how to call it because you can anticipate it because you've seen these teams play. There's a lot of teams that, you look at the NCHC, we've talked about this just from the depth of that conference. There are some very good hockey teams and some very good hockey players, even on the teams, even a Miami of Ohio is going to have a couple of good players. So you got to be able to adjust for that. But I'm glad you bring up the venue part of it, because I think that's also something that between the coaches that have been there for a while that will work officials and that kind of have that rapport with an officiating crew. And then you get into some of those venues where you understand that there are certain fan bases that are going to just rain down hell if you are even perceived of slanted away from them on certain calls, that will influence calls. Young officials, I guarantee it. I know it for a fact. Young officials, they play into that. They don't want to, but I think it's only natural. And again, that's not an excuse to say, hey, those bad calls or being inconsistent, that's acceptable because, give them a break. But this is where it comes from the top of who is developing, who is supervising them, and how much schooling are they getting? How much money are they getting? Are you getting the very best of the best when it comes to that game, especially in those types of conferences like Hockey East and NCHC and even the Big Ten, where you're going to have legitimate big boy hockey where that pace might just be a little bit quicker than what you're seeing in some different conferences or what you're used to even at the juniors level where you're getting a lot of these guys from too.
Yeah. Thankfully, inside the borders of the state, when it comes to high school, the numbers are up of men and women that want to be officials.
That is good.
Can you retain them?
Yep. That's the thing. Be able to retain them.
That's the thing, because I think in men's college basketball at the highest levels, we're in a transition of some older officials that are retiring because the game maybe is getting a little bit too fast, or it's a lot easier to be a consultant and sit on the sidelines and you're not getting barked at.
Yep.
And we have really good officials, and now we have a crop of younger officials that are getting opportunity. But that gap and those inexperienced guys, it. Every coach has a little sheet of the pictures and the background of the officials. Yeah. And you'll write them.
Shows how good the ones that have retired were.
I'll tell you another thing in the Summer League that I've noticed with some of the officiating is positioning, just not being in the right spot, which is like, I guess, refereeing 101.
Yeah, and see, that's the teaching part of it.
Division I men's basketball. Yeah. All right, 7:03. Jimmy's got an update coming up next. Maybe one of the craziest things about that Seton Hall Creighton game, of the way it was officiated, Baylor Shireman played 55 minutes, wasn't called for a foul. Of everybody that was called for a foul in that game, Baylor Shireman played 55 minutes, wasn't called for a foul. Jimmy's got an update. Plus, we'll get into what that means for Creighton Seton Hall. And what did it mean for Nebraska to beat Northwestern before Danny Nee? Oh, man. I'm hearing from people that hung out with Coach Nee. Oh, he back. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dream Time Saving Traffic Center. Not a whole lot of activity in the Omaha metro area. We do have an accident on southbound 168 approaching Harrison. Want to give a quick reminder that the roads are wet and the temperatures are still below freezing, so there are possible slick spots as you make your morning commute. Other than that, traffic flow seems to be smooth sailing. Just remember to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $965 million, which has helped provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
It's pro time, Nebraska! The Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, are about to hit the court. Mark your calendars for January 24th at 7 p.m. when we host the first ever Pro Volleyball Federation match against the Atlanta Vibe at the CHI Health Center. Witness world-class talent, including national champions and Olympians. Don't wait. Secure your single match tickets today at supernovas.com to become a part of history.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hey there, it's Nick Handley for Hims. You know, if you're losing your hair, it's not something you're always looking to make a big deal about. You know, like the first time maybe you swallowed gum and thought something bad was going to happen. Or you accidentally dropped your food on the floor and it was under 3 seconds. It's not a big deal. Hey, the same goes for problems in the bedroom, anxiety, depression, or if you're looking to take better care of your health in general. Through Hims, you can upgrade your daily routines with prescription treatments that can make a big difference and help you regain your confidence and help you feel like yourself again. The entire process is 100% online, so the conversation stays between you and a medical provider you can chat with through Hims.com. Hims has helped millions of guys just like you to get help for their health problems. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, Hims.com/start. That's Hims.com/start for your free online visit. HIMS.com/START. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
Yeah, we're replacing the carpets too, so don't worry about that.
No fresh powder yet, but Dan's Ski Lodge has an avalanche of projects.
Those 4 rooms are getting hot tubs.
He needs a staff engineer to navigate a flurry of new requests.
And all of those will be fully ADA accessible.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen.
And former Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez.
You know the After Hours Lounge is open from 6 to 8 p.m. when the sports schedule allows.
And guess what? I'm stopping by from time to time.
When Rob Love's off for the night, Adrian's going to stop by and talk all things Nebraska football, what he's been up to in the NFL, and you know we're going to still talk all things high school sports.
And who knows what we'll get into. Maybe you'll get to ask me some questions, so stop by from 6 to 8 p.m. and check out the show.
Brought to you by Bellevue University and Papillion Sanitation here on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone will be broadcasting live on Friday, January 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout game. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. Once again, 1620 The Zone live January 26th from the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. For more details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where Hims comes in. Through Hims, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day, and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Congratulations to us, as Omaha will finally go above freezing today for the first time in 13 days. Celebrate responsibly.
It's already 27 degrees out there, by the way.
35 today. Oh yeah.
Car wash is going to be packed.
Yep.
I went ahead, got my car washed yesterday.
Good for you.
My car, it's normally white. Yeah, it's a dark gray right now.
Oh, great. That's
yeah,
good.
it's gross.
Could be worse.
If I like even briefly rub up against it, I have crap all over my clothes. It's that dirty.
It's that
fun.
time of the year. We all have crap all over our clothes. The wet line in your pants.
A lot of salt.
Yeah.
Salt lines.
College World Series just 5 months away. The Nebraska women cut a 21-point fourth quarter deficit to 5 points with 2:26 left, but they are unable to complete the comeback. They lose 82-73 at Penn State, the Bryce Jordan Center yesterday. Alexis Markowski had a double-double, 16 points, career high 19 rebounds. The Huskers, though, slipped to 13-6 overall, 5-3 in the Big Ten. Penn State improves to 13-5 and 4-3 in the conference. They enjoy a bye week this week before facing Caitlin Clark in Iowa Saturday afternoon in Iowa City.
Don't you think she should be in concussion protocol and miss that game?
She
It's a good hit.
Yeah. She took like a weird,
It's all about the angles.
I watched this a couple of times because it was so awkward looking. I kind of joke and said she took a charge like she took like a flop because it looks so
Like a fish.
awkward. It was just like, oh, I got hit. And then like, what do? I spin around and I fall down. It was just really weird. I'm not saying like
Zapruder film.
I think it stunned her more than anything. And then she kind of like just, oh, okay.
Well,
like
I
I know she lost. She said she lost her.
So again,
got the wind knocked out of her.
No one's at fault here. This was because it's her and she's in the public eye.
If
everything gets blown out of proportion.
If she's out for an extended period of time,
I think when you're running fairly fast in a collision like that, she's not very big to begin with.
Yeah, you just naturally kind of hit the deck.
Yeah,
I'll just say this: if you didn't say what happened, just said, "Hey, watch this. What do you think? Do you think she got injured?" I would have said no.
Yeah, there might have been a little over dramatic when she got up.
I thought it was,
but good on her. I mean,
she sold it.
She addressed it in the post game press conference and was cool with them storming. But yeah, it was a social media person from Ohio State
creating
who was running on the
content
floor with
Phone up. Yep, she had her phone up there and she didn't even see her.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, and so then like an hour later, Tulane upset Memphis, and they had a court storming, but there was a student that pushed one of the Memphis players.
Not polite.
Yep.
Not being a gots to go situation, but 97% of the time we rush the field or rush the floor and nothing happens. And then there's like one or two incidents that we start freaking out about. I'm here to save court storming. I've told you how you have to do it. You have to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first women's basketball court storming I've ever seen.
That's what I thought.
So I don't think Ohio
Yeah.
State wasn't.
Ohio
State wasn't prepared
weren't
at all.
expecting it.
And it was really kind of weird. Like, the cameras panned to the student section of Ohio State, and they're like, what do we do? Oh, let's run on the floor.
And then
So I've never seen it at a college women's game.
Yeah.
So Ohio State wasn't prepared.
Yeah, security's
I want to
serious?
protect court storming, but we have to protect the team that is losing so they get off the floor, and then let's just party like it's 1999.
It's got to
Which
rope
I
off
did a lot back
the
then.
little players section right there of like, this is the area you need to go. That's going to be completely secured. No students, no fans can get there. And you take that all the way to the locker room. It sounds simple.
She'll be all right. It's nothing a little General's chicken from
Yeah,
Hy-Vee
she should
can't
be.
fix.
She should be concussion protocol. I would hold her out a week.
Yep.
We could. She come back Saturday.
Amy Williams should contact the Big Ten and go, man, she took a hard fall.
Did you see when she got up? She was a little wobbly. I think you guys need to check into
I
this.
think the Clark eyes need to be looked at by the Big Ten.
I didn't.
I was just waiting for the like
see
a good
any
neighbor
smelling
State
salt.
Farm is there, and all of a sudden Jake shows up and just takes her into the locker room. Apparently not living up to their billing. Come on, State Farm. Be better.
Morgan, Molly, and Emma Ronsick combined for 43 points and 18 rebounds. Creighton wins at Villanova 63-49 yesterday. Philly, they're 14-3 of the season, 5-2 in the conference. Villanova's 12-6 and 5-2 in the Big East. The Jays are at Georgetown Wednesday night. Omaha men's basketball suffers their second home loss of the season Saturday as they're narrowly defeated 74-72 by Kansas City to snap a 3-game winning streak at home. They fall to 10-11 on the season, 3-3 in the Summit. And Kansas City improves to 8-12 and 2-3. The Mavs close out the month of January on the road next week when they begin their road trip at Oral Roberts on Thursday night. The Omaha women fall in Kansas City 88-74 to fall to 4-15 overall, 0-6 in conference play, and they host Oral Roberts at Baxter Arena on Thursday night. And the Eagles have fired demoted defensive coordinator Sean Desai. Desai was hired by the Eagles in February to replace Jonathan Gannon, who became head coach of the Cardinals. Head coach and still head coach Nick Sirianni demoted Desai in favor of Matt Patricia and his pencil following blowout losses to the 49ers and Cowboys in early December that dropped the Eagles to 10-3. The change to Patricia and his pencil, however, made things worse as the defense yielded 30 points on average its last 4 games, including 32 in their playoff loss to Tampa Bay last week. And finally, I don't want to forget them, but we talked about them already. Omaha Hockey gets swept by Denver, 6-3 and 6-2, Friday and Saturday night, respectively. They're now 11-9 and 2 overall, 4-7-1 the NCHC, and they are at St. Cloud State this weekend.
Yep, not a good weekend.
Tied for first.
I'm taking the blame on that one too, by the way, because I said because you guys were more optimistic than I was on Friday. It was for
because we were positive
for a period and a half on Friday. It was very, very good hockey. Really good hockey. And Omaha was skating with them.
In the middle of the second period, both nights.
Yep. And then it just went boom, 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 boom.
So they're in 7th. 1st through 6th is drifting away from Omaha.
Yeah.
I think we're going to find out what the standard for Omaha hockey is. I use the word stuck.
I think it's a very good description.
Across the board, Omaha athletics men and women are winning, except for their 2 marquee programs. Now, men's basketball is better in year 2 than they definitely were in year 1. Had a lost opportunity this week. Hockey is, I don't know if you can be in your 7th year and continue to finish, not making it to the NCAA tournament outside of you got a COVID break.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going to find out what standard hockey is held to. Here's my belief about hockey. And it can be a great job. It can be a fantastic job. A lot of resources. You got a great arena. But does it matter if Omaha hockey wins or loses?
As far as who the head coach is? I mean, you're talking about as far as job security or just in general here?
Does it matter if Omaha hockey wins or loses? There's such a small group that they're miserable this morning because of what happened this weekend.
Yeah.
But there's a much larger group that will go no matter what.
Because it's entertaining.
Because it's hockey.
Yep. It's entertaining.
Okay. And it's something that you don't get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to go to Baxter Arena. So you don't really care what Omaha's record is if they win or lose, because you're probably going to go to a good game. You're probably going to go to a game and you're probably going to come back for another game. To me, that's a weird dynamic. And the people that are passionate about Omaha hockey, God bless them, because I know who you are, and you are you take losses like the Nebraska football fan takes losses or used to. It hurts. But coaches usually are given the door when there's no butts in seats.
Mm-hmm.
People will still go, no matter who the head coach is, no matter what the record is. That's just my belief. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, the building's still going to be full and we might not be that good. But then there's, shouldn't we be better with the resources that we have, the arena we play in?
Good support.
Well, in the smack dab in the middle of a lot of the USHL products as well. I'm going to throw another part out to the NCHC, which doesn't bode well for Omaha. And this is, again, more of you're starting to fall back in the pecking order here when it comes to these teams. I know, and this is where a lot of the diehards know what I'm talking about here. I know you do too. Take a look at what's going on in Colorado Springs. That used to be a doormat in the NCHC. Robson Arena, real nice, perfect for what they're trying to do. They don't have the Olympic sheet of ice anymore. They're recruiting more people to that hockey program. This is a program now, all of a sudden, I think in its 3rd year of their new building, they're making their way up the standings. They're basically sort of overpassing right now Omaha. And they've got the new shiny object as far as their arena. They've got a nice place to attend college, but they're getting the results. They just came off of a weekend where they swept Miami, which you should, because they're the doormat of the NCHC. But also they've got 2 wins against North Dakota this year too. You could already see it last year. They've got a fantastic, and Barrico is one of the best net miners you're going to see. They've got a lot going for them. If you start falling behind the Colorado colleges and the Miamis of the world to where you're either vying for 7th or 8th in the NCHC, you got a big problem, considering, going back to the main point, the amount of resources that are put into, remember what Trev labeled, when he was at Omaha, a hockey school. That's their identity when it comes to their athletic program.
And they need to win.
Yep.
They
You have
win
to
for
be better
everybody.
than 7th or 6th place in the NCHC.
Now, here's the thing. They're 20th in pairwise. They are 7th in the NCHC, and 4, 5, and 6 are starting to creep further and further away.
Yeah.
They have another opportunity this weekend, but they got to go on the road to St. Cloud, and St. Cloud is now tied for first after their weekend with North Dakota. Here's the scary part of like where Omaha hockey is. And again, Denver is elite for a reason, but there were so many stretches of non-competitive hockey that Omaha had this weekend.
100%.
Officiating aside,
totally agree.
is I don't hear anybody defending Mike Gabinet. You know, a lot of people like him. Gabs is a very likable guy.
Yeah.
And people have been like, you know what, man, he'll get it done. He'll get it. I've not heard anybody, even when we've brought up Omaha hockey on the show, stand up and go, you know what, he's the right guy for the job. He's going to get it done. That's not happening anymore. That's when you reach that point as a coach. Because I saw it with Coach Hansen in men's basketball.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you're almost close to a gots to go situation where it's time to contact the realtor.
That's a good comparison to Darren too, because I think, as we know, and you know as well as I do, that was back when I was doing PA for men. There are very few people that you would rather have a sit down conversation and just talk hoops or any other thing than Darren Hansen, one of the great guys. But when the results aren't adding up, and maybe that buys you another year because of the goodwill that you have brought and some of the good things that you've brought to the program, but you start getting a little bit further removed from that, and you're not seeing that next wave of success coming in, and it doesn't look like it's coming in anytime soon. And then you do, and this goes back to that word you used on Friday, stuck. You feel like, is your program stuck? That's regardless of the expectations of a program. If you feel like that's exactly where you are, you have to reevaluate everything. And I think some of the part about Gabs is, and not maybe always hearing the vote of confidence echoing throughout the halls there, is there's also a little bit of that malaise that comes with this time of the year where, and we even saw this a little bit with Dean, where you'd get into, say, February and you wouldn't see the type of results where they'd have a great first half, heck, maybe even off to a good start in January, but then all of a sudden that second half or that February month just led to one loss after another, where maybe you win a good game and then you go out the following weekend on the road and get swept by a Miami, and all the hard work and momentum that you built is completely erased because of that one bad weekend. And Omaha hockey has experienced that a lot. And so I just feel like there's always a little bit of that. If you say they had a good weekend this weekend against Denver, and you want to believe, there's always that idea in the back of the mind of the other shoe of the second half of the season is going to drop. And again, that's, we talk about this all the time with Nebraska football too, changing the narrative, being able to change that. And that's tasked on this coaching staff. No doubt about it. That's tasked on this coaching staff.
They're winning. The athletic department, they're winning. The Olympic sports are doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
They got an athletic director that wants to win because, to have a spot in this community, you have to win. Now, hockey, you may not have to win because people are still going to go. Men's basketball, you have to win to get attention.
Absolutely.
And, they made a change to win. And in year 2, there's a more sense of we're headed in the right direction than, trying to figure out in year 1 where everybody's getting to know each other. Omaha athletics needs hockey to be good.
Yep.
They need every resource in the world needs to be into hockey to make sure that hockey is good. But they're stuck right now. And getting over the top, just it's a challenge. And in the greatest league in the sport, it's even more of a challenge. Right. But you shouldn't be sitting in 7th this far into your tenure.
No, and
having performances where you're non-competitive for majority of the night at home against Denver.
Yeah.
At home is even worse than on the road.
Yeah. And when you have other programs that were either at the same level or below you are now elevating their play, elevating their operations, elevating everything they're doing, that sense of urgency has to be felt. And I would ask the question, is anybody feeling that sense of urgency right now?
Corey, who is a season ticket holder for Omaha hockey.
His Jersey game's always on point.
Husker fan of and a UNO hockey, and I'm in the category of being on both sides. I'm going no matter what, but the weekend sucked. I think there does need to be more pressure because winning matters. It hurts recruiting.
Well, and I'll throw this at you, Gary. And we talked about this. In fact, I think I had this conversation with Corey at one point. There was a lot of optimism when you got guys like Jack Randall to come back, Nolan Sullivan, Matt Miller.
Especially on the heels of last year of getting home ice,
Yep.
And then the deflation of winning on Friday, and then
and then
North
losing that
Dakota was
Sunday.
North Dakota. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, that Sunday night to end the the playoffs was just, that was a gut punch the way that game played out. And you thought, okay, you got a taste of it, and they're
going to bring a lot of guys back.
Just haven't been able to.
Yeah.
The good wins this year are now being neutralized
Absolutely.
by some bad performances.
Yep.
Because they do have some good wins. They just have some, what the hell, losses.
Well, and I
that
was
are on the ledger.
I was talking to Terry Leahy about this on Friday. They got some good wins too, but some of those wins, people forget the point system too. Some of those wins are in overtime. Like, you need some of those happen in the first 3 periods and not in overtime. But I think
my man Terry couldn't even talk after the game on Saturday night. He was so despondent over what he had just seen over the weekend.
I don't know what you could really say other than probably what was said during the broadcast. But I mean, I do think of this season, this wasn't some people who maybe didn't know this team very well thought, okay, is it a transition year? No, I mean, you got some guys that could have went on and played pro hockey or decided to begin their lives, but you brought some guys back, some graduate seniors back, super seniors back, and that you still haven't seen the type of production that you saw last year from this team. Like, that's a pretty big disappointing result right now, given that roster.
I don't know that we've ever really heard what the standard is expected. I think we're about to find out what is expected of Omaha hockey here sooner than later. All right, 7:26. When we come back, we'll shift to basketball. Creighton got an incredible win against Seton Hall in triple overtime. Nebraska did what they had to do to beat Northwestern. But I think we saw both head coaches, they've taken on the same mentality. If you listen to them before, during, and after their performances on Saturday, I'll tell you what I think. Also, coming up after 8, we'll talk about the Polynesian Bowl. Might be a bad take here. Many might disagree. That was a bad game.
Yeah.
It's all-star games. You have a lot of substitutions. That was a bad football game. But
a lot of turnovers.
That doesn't mean that there were not some things with the trio of Huskers in the game that stood out. So we'll dive into that coming up after the 8 o'clock hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, if you've been watching the NFL playoffs from the sidelines, there's still time to get in the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet this Sunday's conference championship games with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a dub.
That's right. And right now, the conference championship games, you've got Kansas City on the road to Baltimore with the Ravens as a 3.5-point favorite. Niners are a big 6.5-point favorite. And again, all you have to do is just go to FanDuel.com, use the promo code ZONE, and join today. That's FanDuel.com/zone. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Do you think the top part of a mermaid also tastes like fish, or would it actually be red meat?
I think it kind of blends toward the waist, like in the middle, you get like a nice cut of both.
Wouldn't the top half of the mermaid be white meat?
No, are people white meat?
No, we're red meat, John.
The breasts! The breasts!
Oh, those.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and breezy for your Monday. Watch out for a little wintry mix early on, mainly south of the metro. Otherwise, can't rule out some patchy fog throughout the day. Not going to see any sunshine. South to southwest winds gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour. Highs around 34. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dreamtime Saving Traffic Center, not a whole lot of activity in the Omaha metro area. The accident on southbound 168th approaching Harrison is cleared. Traffic seemed to be smooth sailing from here on out. Keep in mind of possible slick spots as the roads are still wet and the temperature still below freezing. Remember to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Do you want more control over your business spending? Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management platform designed to save you time and money. Ramp offers unlimited corporate cards with spend controls you can customize to stop wasteful spending before it happens. Ramp makes expense reports a breeze by automatically collecting receipts and matching them to the right transaction. You'll close your books in hours instead of days. Ramp allows you to see all of your company spend in one place, so you can make quick, informed decisions about your business finances. Plus, Ramp will share insights based on your spending to help you cut costs. Over 15,000 businesses have added up to 5% to their bottom line with Ramp. You can be one of them. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Tuesday night, the Creighton Blue Jays return home to do battle with the Xavier Musketeers. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. Tip-off at 7:30. Creighton Blue Jay basketball on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Join me, Jimmy Allen, for the Creighton Athletics Hour. We'll be talking all things Blue Jays and interviewing your favorite coaches, so you don't want to miss it. It's the Creighton Athletics Hour, Thursdays, starting at 6 o'clock, only on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and your 1620 The Zone mobile app.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome to football in 2024, where a big play happens and the camera is obscured by a mitten, like it was on the Greenlaw interception at the end of the San Francisco Green Bay game.
It's like it's hard enough to see that game with the rain anyway, but then
it's 50-something degrees. You didn't need a mitten.
We also live in an age
freezing
where a podcaster was in a suite and jumped out of a suite and had a good time and chugged a shot out of a bowling ball.
He had a good time, like you said. Living his best life. How can you not love
You
that?
would not, if you didn't know he was an NFL player, you would just think he was a member of the Bills Mafia.
Yeah. He just needed a Buffalo Bills swatch or stocking cap on. I would have been like, yeah, it's a typical Bill fan.
So he started with Team Yeti, his T-shirt on, and he had a Chiefs stocking cap on. I think one of the best shots of Taylor Swift, and it's crazy, I mean, that people would have fun at a football game, right? You're not supposed to have fun at a football game. You're supposed to be miserable.
Yeah,
See, I wasn't watching.
Supposed to be mad, and you're supposed to be tense. Have a vomit bag next to you.
Stop showing fans that are having fun.
Yeah, quit doing that.
And also maybe a little bit too much on the CBS man. And they were like snipers last night at the end of the game. They were picking off sad Buffalo Bills fans.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Like I'm
like,
sorry. I played into it. I screenshotted on my TV a guy that was in misery. And that was unfortunate. I felt bad after I did it, but then I just thought, well, I know I'm not the only one who did that. He's got to have a good one.
But the Jason Kelce. So his celebration, which, my God, that Labatt blue looks so small in his hands. It was like the Andre Giant.
It did.
And also Canadian beers like moonshine.
How great
Hell
Labatt,
yes.
Hey, how great Labatt Blue is. Labatt Blue is fantastic.
I haven't had Labatt Blue probably, maybe I was 21, 22 at the time. I think it's the last time I had Labatt Blue.
It is sweet. But the Photoshop, or not the Photoshop, the photo bombing is they go to the suite and he's in the back row and he is chugging a beer, shirtless.
Yep, next to Taylor.
I can't wait for the New Heights podcast that drops on Wednesday.
So, okay, I heard this last night.
They record it on Tuesdays because that's the off day in the NFL, and then they drop. Sometimes they will put out teasers on Tuesday.
Yeah,
but they drop the whole thing on Wednesday. This week could be epic because Jason's got stories to tell, and I'm sure Travis has a story to tell or two about his little heart. Was he sending that to Taylor?
I think he sent it to the Buffalo fans.
What was going on?
So is this true?
No, that was for Travis. Brothers, they're watching
he
the
sent
game.
it.
Well, he had a snowball ripping through him.
He sent it to the Bills fans who made a deal with the Kansas City Chiefs so that the Chiefs could trade up to the 10th overall selection and draft Patrick LaVon Mahomes.
Okay.
Love you guys. Love your front office.
Was this really Jason Kelsey's first social interaction with Taylor Swift?
Yes.
That is so awesome. Like, that's the first interaction.
Now she thinks he's more fun. Just a regular dude.
He's married.
Yeah, and so his wife was there as well.
Yeah. See, I kept
someone
seeing,
had to drive home.
Like the whole family was there.
I kept seeing the likely conversation of, hey, Jason, this is the first time meeting Taylor. Let's be on our best behavior. Then they go, Jason's response, literally hold my beer and doing the like that. And so I kept seeing that this was the first time that they were meeting. I didn't know if that was factual, which makes the story even that much better.
Hey, for all the haters out there at Kansas City today, I'm going to be with you on one thing. If the Chiefs happen to go to the Super Bowl, the in Vegas, the whole Swift Kelsey thing for 2 weeks will be a little too much.
Yeah, you thought the Kelsey thing last year was a lot.
I'm with you there. If you want to be a hater, I'll stand in your line. But other than that, if you want to hate on the Chiefs, I got my boxing gloves on.
So I don't know who retweeted it, but there was a Taylor Swift fan account on Twitter that was just breaking down how Travis showed up against Buffalo and a team that just despised him and a team that thought that they had it in the bag. Like, it was just like rattling off like the narrative. I'm like, look at the Taylor Swift fan club now understanding Buffalo and Kansas City's history. Like, this is great. And then we're starting to see a lot of the people saying 4 quarters away from the Taylor Swift Super Bowl.
He had not been good this year.
No.
It'd been close to 1,000-yard season, but he had not been as good as he'd been. He was great last night. He was fantastic last night. Again, that was an ass kicking. I know it was 27-24. They couldn't stop Kansas City's offense. And remember, Mahomes, as great as he was with a 131.6 passer rating, he missed 2 key throws to Kelsey, and then he missed MVS, who, whoa.
How about him?
What was that? It was a role reversal, man.
See, I'm Team Rashee Rice. I think you found your guy, but then all of a sudden Valdez-Scantling last night.
He's been that guy for a while.
But then Valdez-Scantling all of a sudden showing up too.
We know if it goes to overtime.
Let's see if you do it 2 games in a row.
Well, yeah.
We know what would have happened if it went to overtime. Didn't doubt it one.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the first hour. We're talking about Josh Allen. I've watched that last series. Josh Allen, first of all, there's you on second down, you don't need to score 7. You just need 9. But I'm now convinced.
Is that the one?
I've changed this. I know. I'm convinced here. I've changed my opinion a little bit. He had no faith in their kicker. He had absolutely no faith in their kicker.
Never trust the kicker.
Could be
just the way, because there are too many easy throws on checkdowns.
Should have hit
that would have been first downs instead of going for hero ball. He did not have any faith whatsoever that they were going to make that field goal. So he said, and make it, and then thinking, man, Mahomes will do Mahomes things, so we got to score a touchdown.
Yeah,
and not leave too much time.
So
left.
he went for the big play instead of the smart play, because I don't think he trusted their kicker, and I don't think he trusted his team. If it was a 27-27 game, that Mahomes wouldn't win it.
Yep.
Okay, so I have 3 plays that I'm you're gonna have to help me out on this one. I'm trying to remember who the intended receiver was in the end zone that he, wildly underthrew was, I can't remember if that was Khalil Shakir.
Davis.
Was that Davis? Okay.
Yeah.
That he, wildly underthrew.
They had Diggs on the curl.
Yeah, Diggs was on the cross. In fact, you get that ball to Diggs, even stopping his momentum briefly, he's probably running for another 10 to 15 yards after that catch because he was so wide open. So that's a fair observation that why would you be going for the home run there?
So there was,
but then there was the one
Diggs across the middle. He was going, wasn't it Shakir in the end zone?
See, I thought it was
Gabe Davis didn't play yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was Shakir in the end zone. Yeah, okay. Khalil Shakir, you have that one, and then you have the deep ball to Stephon Diggs that, he just uncorks it. And to Josh Allen's credit, that was not a badly thrown ball. That was Stephon Diggs who dropped that ball. But again, you had options underneath. And then I'm thinking of the Khalil Shakir, that the play that actually was really nice on third down where they had the motion and then Shakir gets hooked up on the linebacker, goes one way, goes the other, and he's wide open. But that was like the only play that was like, okay, that's what you need to do there. All of a sudden you're watching.
Are we talking about the same scenario? I'm focusing on the second and third down play before the missed field goal.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about early. I'm talking about earlier in the drive. I'm talking about earlier in that drive.
Those are the key plays. Is the second down and third down, the pass to the end zone where you had Diggs running across the middle.
That was the one.
And it's second down. You just need 9, and then the third down play where Kansas City went cover 0 and brought the house and they moved him out of the pocket and he ran to the sidelines and threw it out of bounds.
Yes, threw it down the sideline.
Set up the 44-yard field goal miss. So 62% of his passes last night were behind the line of scrimmage. 49% of his completions were passes thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of swings. He saw a lot of the.
That's why I keep saying again. I may be onto something. He would never admit it. He didn't trust his team last night, but still, he needs more scrutiny about those last 2 plays.
Yeah, and it's probably
Kansas City did a great job. They turned one of the best running backs in the NFL into a guy that when he had to make a pass, he couldn't make a pass.
It's fair. I'm now kind of going back to your theory on he didn't trust Bass, because these are all throws that, again, we're talking about the underneath route too, especially when you have probably your number one target in Stephon Diggs, who is wide open underneath, that you could even, like I said before, you could even throw that a little bit behind him. He's still going to catch it and have plenty of time to move upfield. I don't understand why all of a sudden you have to uncork that. Now, the one moment that I understand why he went deep, and that was right after you get the touchdown waved off, or you get the ball back on the touchback when the fumble goes out of the end zone. That's when they take the deep shot to Stephon Diggs, and he probably should have caught that ball. But that was okay.
Kansas City got lucky. There were 2 deep balls.
Yeah, that one should have been caught.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, but the plays were the last series of downs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
That's the game. All right. Basketball this weekend. Creighton wins. Nebraska wins. Creighton's number 4 in a couple of brackets I've seen this morning. Nebraska's a 9. They both play tomorrow. Creighton's game against Sean Miller and crew could be just wreck ball. That could be like 90-85. Nebraska, Ohio State, I think, will be a rock fight on Peacock.
Yeah,
thankfully.
But
Peacock.
I got the sense this weekend, and both needed to win. Nebraska for their NCAA resume, Creighton for their psyche. Even though if Creighton wouldn't have won that game, it wasn't going to impact their NCAA resume.
It would have
been like a bad road trip. Because, hey, good on Seton Hall. Seton Hall has found their head coach, who, again, like a Dan Campbell-ish, understands the identity of the school they work for. Okay? New Jersey guy.
Mm-hmm. Makes them believe.
New York guy, but he gets that. And they are like, you know what? I think I can recruit. So we're going to play this just hectic offense. We're going to try and steal the ball away. We're going to crash the offensive glass. Well, you know what? They didn't do either one as well as they've done in that game. But I like Holloway. I think that was a great hire, and he's a lot further along at Seton Hall than I thought he would be. I mean, they're a threat. They're a legit team.
He and Kim English are dudes in the Big East. They're going to be dudes.
The Big East, man. They got the great coaches, except for Tony Stubblefield. I mean, Ed Cooley is
one more year.
Hey, Ed Cooley is. You what? They're gonna beat somebody here soon, and you're gonna go, whoa.
They're getting better.
So Georgetown will turn it around, and he's at a place that Georgetown needs men's basketball to be good. But as I listened to Mac and Fred on Friday before their games, and then I watched their actions during the games, and then what they said afterwards, Mac said, we're a really damn good team. And they are. They're a 4 seed. I don't know if that game changed your opinion on Creighton's ceiling. If you're now moving the goalposts, you move the goalposts of like, you know what? They're not as good. They got all these deficiencies. And they got beat by UConn, who is legit. And I think there's a separation between UConn and the rest of the Big East. Then they win a game like Saturday and go, let's move the goalposts again. I don't know what you are, where your ceiling is on them.
Somewhere in the middle.
But Max said, we're a really damn good team. Didn't Fred kind of say the same thing on Friday?
Yeah.
And then without saying it, doubled down is there's no celebration after the Northwestern game.
Yes.
We're on to the next one.
I like that.
So aren't both coaches, whether it be them against the officials or them against the outside perception when they like the team they have turned it into us against them?
Yeah, that's a good point, because and I go back to when Mac was talking about that narrative of them being soft, or Kalkbrenner being soft, and really stood up for his guys there too, and said that anybody who says that, like, you're not watching this team. So he's taken on that protection of some of the narratives against his team that he doesn't feel is fair, because he's with him and I get that, but he's taken on that role of going to bat for his guys. I think that after the UConn game, again, where a lot was being questioned about the toughness of this team, because that was a bad look. There's no other way to excuse that other than UConn, who didn't shoot the ball well at all in that game, just bullied Creighton. That was the look. And so
there's another game that was not as close as the score might have indicated. UConn shot 36%.
Yeah.
Creighton didn't even hit 50, and UConn won by 14.
Creighton had 30 points in 33 minutes of that basketball game. But I think, again, this was hearing a little bit of the outside noise of, man, there's that toughness thing, and then when they can't hit shots, double down and backed his team, and they put out a performance like that. The Fred thing, which is interesting too, and I've noticed he's had a little bit more pointed comments towards his own team. It's not necessarily.
No, I don't think it's Nick. I don't think it's towards his team.
No,
I think that group knows that they've got something. I think it's more towards the outside narrative of, here we go again. Because I'll tell you, on Friday, he was pretty fired up about this team, and maybe a little message to his team, but I think more to the outside people. We got a good basketball team. We got a good basketball team here. You're not going to take us down this road.
Well, and I guess the reason I would bring up that he seems to be a little bit more pointed these days in his team is he's been a little more descriptive when things haven't gone well about certain things that have broken down. When he's talking about some of their late game execution against Rutgers, it's talking about how they could have had an easy still got a quick 2, but instead we're jacking up 28 footers. I feel like that wasn't always something he was going all in on before. And it leads me to believe that the reason he is saying that, and that maybe this is kind of what you're saying, is that he does expect more out of this team. So it was obviously more disappointing. And the guy that we continue to hear about,
they're a weird team.
Oh,
they're different. Their vibe is different. They're a weird team. The most important thing that happened to Nebraska on Saturday is they won.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take much out of it. They still turned the ball over a lot. They blew a double-figure lead, but they found a way to win. They're just a weird team that at times has just mind-boggling moments.
Yeah.
But they are finding a way to win,
which is something.
Which it's better to win than it is to lose.
And we've seen Nebraska basketball when they've had opportunities to crap down their leg. Usually all of those times that present themselves, they do just that. This year, they found ways in certain games to win. But I go back to the personalities, and Josiah Alex said something after the game that I thought was very true. When we think about how much basketball this team has played, because you got a lot of experience, a lot of older guys that are playing, but the fact that they haven't played together, he brought up something that was so simple, but I appreciated it because I think Josiah Alex has turned into a pretty good mouthpiece for this team. And he mentioned the only way that they're going to kind of learn from those moments from adversity, because they haven't played with one another. When he was talking about the lack of communication that they were having in that Iowa game and that Rutgers game, that was kind of or I think it was the Iowa game that he was talking about that was sort of concerning, is the only way that they kind of learn from that and kind of feel like how to approach each other during those moments is by continuing to go through those moments. Now, I know that's not something that Nebraska fans want to hear about. Please do not go through those adverse moments, especially late in the game. But I think if you're looking on how this team can finish, what I took away from that is, okay, that's fair that when you are going through those late game moments, the adversity, whether it's on the road or at home, you're starting to kind of get an idea of the approachability of certain players, how to get under, your teammates, not necessarily get under his skin, but be able to motivate and be able to kind of to push him a little bit, but not to the point that it's all of a sudden going to be at that breaking point. I think that was actually a really good point that he does bring up, because we forget about still how little basketball that core group has played together. And so now you're starting to see some of those late game moments where it's not always looking so pretty, late game execution, or guys just simply not communicating, to where you're going through that enough. Hopefully these guys are, with those experiences, are finding a lot more out about each other. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting that he brought that up, and that they were able to do just enough defensively in that game against Northwestern to win it. And the communication apparently was much better in those moments too.
So I didn't learn anything new about Nebraska on Saturday, other than they needed to win, and they won. They're a good team. They're an NCAA team. 9, 10, 11 seed sounds about right. Now, they have 3 interesting games, the next 3. It seems like we're doing this every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got Ohio State tomorrow night. And Ohio State had lost 3 in a row before they beat Penn State on Saturday.
They're 44, I think, Ken Palm. Ohio State is.
And then they go to Maryland. And then they come home for Wisconsin. I mean, so, man, if you go 2-1 during that stretch, I just don't think you want to get into February where you're chasing victories. You want to help yourself along the way. They're just a weird team that is good, but not great. But they do well at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. The last week trying to put a finger on him, but I'm glad that Fred has got a little upset. He's got a little ticked off.
Yes.
He's standing up for his team. Now, what I learned about Creighton is during this road trip, maybe a Stephen Ashworth is different. Maybe a Stephen Ashworth is the biggest takeaway from their road trip. He's the guy that probably played the hardest against UConn.
Yep.
And then he probably was the guy that played the smartest against Seton Hall.
And that could be, again, kind of like we were talking about with Nebraska. Stephen Ashworth not only getting used to this league, but getting used to the guys around him a little bit more too, and how to be best used. And that also goes with Coach Mack too, and his coaching staff on how to put him and this offense in the best positions. You're seeing just the overall, I don't want to say this team lacks effort, but his overall effort here lately has been noticeable. And again, there's another veteran presence that has played a lot of college basketball, but playing in this league, playing around these guys, and seeing him start to maybe kind of settle into his role of being a facilitator. I think smart is a good way to use it, especially when you need to be very careful on how you're going about your offense in those moments where every position or possession is critical, that he's actually been a lot more reliable there.
Yeah. So I brought up the fact that in a very choppy officiated game on Saturday at the Rock, that Shireman didn't have a foul in 55 minutes. Is that more impressive than Ashworth not having a turnover in 49 minutes?
I'd still give Ashworth not having a turnover in 49 minutes more impressive than Shireman. When whistles and fouls were aplenty, that is still that is a stat that honestly I didn't even realize it until you brought it up, that he did not have one single foul. But Stephen Ashworth not having a turnover in 49 minutes of play is, especially when what he's being tasked with, that's what you need out of your guy. And that is in a game like that where it's high scoring. I mean, the fact that there was only between the two teams, 13 or 14 turnovers, when you have that many points being scored.
Turned over 6 times?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, and that's the thing that's a development to keep your eye on too. If this is more of what you're going to get from Stephen Ashworth and what that can mean for this team down the stretch and reaching that ceiling, well, that's huge right now. I mean, February, I said this, I think on Thursday when you were gone, I consider February, as they kind of refer to in golf, as moving day, because February is where you're starting to jockey for position. You're starting to kind of look like the team that you're going to look like in March. You're starting to show a little bit more of that identity. if this is where Creighton is trending in getting more out of Stephen Ashworth, that's huge for them.
Hey, Jimmy. Sorry to wake you up over there. Did the Alexander 3 look familiar to you? Think about KU.
I know what you're getting at. It was the chop play.
Don't you think it was the chop
Mario's miracle?
Don't you?
It looked like chop.
Nick, don't you think that was the almost identical play?
Yeah, the handoff and then boom. Yep.
I didn't want to say it because then I'm being biased, but yeah, it looked very much like it.
Yeah, the handoff and pop and shoot. Yeah.
Well, I mean that's the end result, but they got to go through the whole play.
Yeah, all the
there
other
was a lot more than the Mario Chalmers just hitting the shot. The way they ran that play.
I'd have to go back and remember that entire play.
There's about 4 things they can get out of chop,
Memphis.
and that's one of them. Okay. So yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly the sequence in the Kansas-Memphis game when how all that came down. I just remember him coming off of the screen, the shot or the handoff, and then the shot.
Well, the dribbler, Ashworth dribbling towards the baseline. Mm-hmm. You're not dribbling to the shooter, and you reverse it. You go the opposite side, and you come back, and it's open on the 3. Yeah, that is the chop play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was that Sharon Collins?
Essentially.
Okay. Yeah, again, vaguely familiar with the entire play in 08 of the actual shot itself.
The shot up top, but then there's a couple other options in the corner, if I remember correctly.
You can see it on a Sports Illustrated cover.
Mm-hmm. In my garage.
Rest in peace.
In a box?
No, it's hanging up in a frame.
Sports Illustrated's still alive. Barely.
Yeah. There was a lot of tributes on Friday.
Yeah, everybody's covers that were being shared.
Yes, a lot of tributes on your favorite cover.
But I thought I
like that.
Did Mac break that play down?
I didn't even think about that. But I just all I'm seeing again. I'm not going in full depth of the play.
He did. So he broke the play down. Did he say that? That's
no.
Okay. I mean, Creighton probably doesn't call it the chop play, but like.
But if it was, it's a good play. Imitation's best form of flattery. So I'm all for it. It's a big shot because nobody had any legs when you got to the last couple overtimes. It really was gutting it out.
Well, Creighton had 4 guys that played 48 or more minutes,
and then they turned out and played tomorrow night.
Hey, thank God that's not a Monday night game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had the big Monday. Yeah.
But still, I guess they had a long day of travel after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're back at it tomorrow.
Are they back in school? If not, sleep.
Oh yeah,
they should.
Today's it, right?
Hey, trust me,
we're all back.
For somebody that knows, the kid's back in school today.
Is Creighton back today too?
Yeah, I think Creighton went back last week.
Okay. Yeah, I figured by today everyone is at least starting your spring semester. So it's on.
All the players.
That's a quick turnaround,
sit in
though.
the snowbank.
You'll travel day and then having a game on Tuesday as opposed to maybe a Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. We'll discuss the Polynesian Bowl here in a little bit. If you watched it on Friday night, I know a lot of you did. A lot of you were fully hussed after Dylan Raiola threw a 33-yard pass up the seam to Carter Nelson. You probably passed out, or you probably you probably I see a baby boom.
It's Friday night.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, boomer bust or whatever. You know what? You can go see your greatest events out there that are close to home, courtesy of Tickets for Less and ticketsforless.com. This is what you need to do. You want to go see tomorrow night down at the Chai. You want to go see tomorrow night at PBA. You want to go see a huge game for Omaha men's basketball February 1st against St. Thomas, or when South Dakota State, the league leader, comes to town. You can find tickets on ticketsforless.com and 0 per ticket fees. They have transparent pricing. Other sites, they're going to zap you. Tickets for Less, they don't do that. What you see is what you get. And when you get to checkout, you don't have the sticker shock. That's what makes Tickets for Less so good. What makes it even better right now, I'm going to give you a promo code that's going to save you. Just use The Zone. The promo code is The Zone, either on ticketsforless.com or download the Tickets for Less app right now. Use the promo code on either site, and you're going to save on the biggest events, the biggest concerts as well. Go to Tickets for Less or download the Tickets for Less app today and use the promo code The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Hey, it's Nick Handley for Hims. If you're losing your hair, it's not something you're always looking to make a big deal out of, right? That's why we put the hats on to kind of cover that up. Well, the same goes for problems in the bedroom, anxiety, depression, or if you're looking to take better care of your health in general. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It's actually not that uncommon. 52% of men over 40 experience some form of ED, and male pattern hair loss affects about 50% of men by the age of 50. So if you want to regrow your hair, have better sex, or tackle anxiety and depression, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com and do something about it. And since it's all online, that means no doctor's offices and no pharmacies, just solutions that can bring real results. Hims has helped millions of guys just like you get help for their health problems. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit, hims.com/START. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials, Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
It's obvious. The unthinkable continues. Most Americans know something very wrong is happening. People in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. That's why self-reliant folks are investing in emergency food storage. You should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $200 on each 3-month food kit you purchase. My Patriot Supply also sells solar generators, gravity-powered water filters, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items ship that same day and arrive quickly on your doorstep in unmarked boxes. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. Time is running out to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
1620 The Zone will be broadcasting live on Friday, January 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout game. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. Once again, 1620 The Zone live January 26th from the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. For more details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen.
And former Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez.
You know the After Hours Lounge is open from 6 to 8 p.m. when the sports schedule allows.
And guess what? I'm stopping by from time to time.
When Rob Love's off for the night, Adrian's going to stop by and talk all things Nebraska football, what he's been up to in the NFL, and you know we're going to still talk all things high school sports.
And who knows what we'll get into. Maybe you'll get to ask me some questions, so stop by from 6 to 8 p.m. and check out the show.
Brought to you by Bellevue University and Papillion Sanitation here on 1620 The Zone.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, both home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil. 1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, so Jimmy Allen was a promo there for After Hours. He's talking about high school sports. Shout out Josh Lutke from Creighton Prep. Big Josh fan. Good dude. Won his 400th game at Prep over the weekend.
Nice. How long has he been there now?
Long time.
Yeah. We're seeing him there at a lot of the men's basketball games too when his son was there. And yeah, good. Congratulations for him. Yeah. It's probably been at least 15 years for Josh.
Didn't he go straight from playing with the Lincoln Lightning to being the head basketball coach at Prep?
That I'm not sure. That I'm not 100% on. But yeah, I feel like he has been there quite a while. But at 400, that is awesome.
Tomorrow night, Nebraska and Ohio State play on Peacock. So if you've held on to Peacock, actually, it's been okay in January.
We watched Ted yesterday. That was a good way to unwind after the game. It's much
series.
Is it worth?
Oh yeah, good app
giving
workout.
So is it a lot of repeat jokes or new?
A little,
because I'm here for Ted.
A little both, but the best part about it is Seth gives 0 Fs. McFarland, obviously, and everybody's getting offended. And if you get offended easily, it's not for you. But if you like to have a laugh because life is short, there are many. Look forward to finishing it this season.
Okay,
I recommend it.
So just one. How many eps are in the season?
I think 6.
Okay,
I have to check. I'm hoping that's wrong because I'm going to be sad. We're on 5 tonight.
Oh, wasted no time getting after it.
Oh yeah, that was our pregame since football didn't start till late yesterday.
You got something tonight. You got a basketball team that needs to win at home against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Lost to West Virginia.
But Peacock should do this. So people are disgruntled to pay $5.99. But in the month of January, they delivered. Mm-hmm. You got a couple of Nebraska basketball games. You got an NFL playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
You get some wrestling.
You got some Iowa women's basketball games.
If they would offer for reduced price a Casey cam the entire game, how much would you pay for it? Because I would pay a lot just to watch him moving nonstop. I would like to know
he gets
how many steps he takes during a game.
Yeah.
His off-ball movement on Saturday was really, really good. He has created opportunities for himself. I thought he got in his feels early in the year, and he wasn't moving as much because I don't think guys knew how to play with him in terms of getting him the basketball. And then all of a sudden, he woke up and he got out of his feels, and he's back to, man, he's cutting and he's moving and he's nonstop, and he's taking all the abuse of getting bumped and grabbed and all that stuff. And that's what happened on Saturday. But man, when he's going and the energy level is high, and of course he becomes Casey PBA, where he plays into the crowd and hit that clutch 3 with 27 seconds ago, I would pay to watch a cam of him just in the game.
He
even when he's on the bench.
Reggie Miller.
Hey, even when he goes to the bench.
When he's on the bench going from
the camera follows him the entire time. I would pay a couple of bucks to watch that.
Yeah, a couple bucks.
I just want a pedometer on his shoe.
No, that's what I really want to know, because Saturday he was going nonstop, especially on the offensive end, where he was cutting and he'd get rid of the ball and he wouldn't stand there. He would move. Sometimes he gets concrete shoes and it really bogs down that offense.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he was better on Saturday. And he's got to create opportunities for himself. But I'd watch a full view of just the Casey cam. Nonstop, up and down the floor.
And the different defenders that he draws and the type of ways that they do try to defend him. Like we were talking about
Rip Hamilton.
The Minnesota game that not that long ago when he was having a fight for everything. But I think that was good because that was probably not the attention that he got as much last year. And so you're getting that the entire season and try to see him kind of fight through screens, try to be able to withstand contact. Guys are going to try to, again, slow him down. I would even say in the Rutgers game, there were moments that he wasn't always moving as quick. I think you're always going to get that out of him at home.
Well, he was moving. Problem was they ran a lot of plays for him at the end of regular, in the last about 5 minutes. Poor decision-making on passes. There were a couple of times where the ball was supposed to go masked to Casey, and it wasn't there. And then the last play of regulation at Rutgers was a Casey play.
Right.
That all of a sudden they went with a less than 1% chance of being executed with a lob at the backboard.
Yeah. Which Fred made very well known at the end of the game that he was not happy with that or any late game execution. But I don't think I'm ever concerned about Casey's energy level and his movement away from the ball at home. And I think that's part of he kind of feeds off of it, feeds off the crowd. I think what's probably interesting, I know Fred talked about it after the game too, is how he is kind of evolved with recognizing the type of attention and how teams are going to defend him and how he's going to get through it. And he's getting a little bit more used to dealing with that and being able to kind of fight through that. So maybe that's the next level of his game right now, because he can get those shots off, but is he able to get into those positions where he's going to have just enough space, be able to make those shots and be able to do that on the road as well?
All right, we'll talk some Polynesian Bowl. Also, Nebraska's got a big one, a must-get on campus. They're going to fight off Michigan State. Keona coming to town. It's fresh from East Lansing. East Lansing to Lincoln. Lincoln every day. That ends in Y. We're back with more Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dream Time Saving Traffic Center, starting to see heavy traffic over on eastbound Dodge. Expect delays between 180th and 150th. Also expect delays on northbound I-680 from Center to Dodge. Northbound JFK's got heavy traffic from Chandler to I-80, I-480. Westbound I-80's got slow traffic from 42nd to 60th. And expect slow traffic on southbound Blair Highway Road from State to I-680. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Zoom Drain.
Zoom Drain's highly trained team of experts and our fleet of well-equipped service trucks are dedicated to providing solutions for homeowners, plumbing contractors, mechanical contractors, and business owners across many industries. Contact Zoom Drain anytime by logging on to zoomdrain.com.
Kevin Red here with Mentality. I'm here with one of our clients.
I realized that, Father Time is undefeated and miss the feeling of being in my 20s again. I was like, what the heck? Why not? Got to give it a try. This is the one shot that we have. So I want to feel like that spring chicken again. So I went to Mentality, and it's been an amazing experience ever since. My only thing that I wish I could change is that I went sooner.
We've helped thousands of guys get their life back on track. Start today at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Save now during the Start Something New sales event happening now at Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn and Laramie, or choose 3.9% APR for 72 months. From work to play, our lineup of trucks offers advanced towing and hauling capabilities, plus a cabin with plenty of space for your crew and traveling essentials. Ram 1500 is the most luxurious and technologically advanced Ram 1500 ever, based on standards and available features offered. Get started today at WoodhouseCDJRBellevue.com or WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com to find your next vehicle. Serving you since 1991. This is Woodhouse. With approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. Woodhouse discount of $5,500. Manufacturer incentive of $4,500. Lease loyalty bonus cash of $3,000. When financed through Chrysler Capital. $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number C240142. Offer expires 1/31/24. See dealer for details.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Rock from the darker side. Disturbed live. Down with the sickness. Take back your life tour. January 29th. CHI Health Center Arena. New album Divisive. Available now. With special guest, Falling in Reverse, and Plush. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Disturbed live.
It's obvious. The unthinkable continues. Most Americans know something very wrong is happening. People in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. That's why self-reliant folks are investing in emergency food storage. You should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $200 on each 3-month food kit you purchase. My Patriot Supply also sells solar generators, gravity-powered water filters, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items ship that same day and arrive quickly on your doorstep in unmarked boxes. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. Time is running out to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Wonder how long for Packer fans that game on Saturday night stings.
Let's go get Joey and ask him.
Are you over it today?
I just saw Joey in the bathroom. He's good.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's
with
good.
the game, or
he's
just
good. He's good with the. He's good.
You have a conversation, or
we had a conversation as I was
put
leaving.
some eyeballs on him.
He said he's. I had to ask him like, how you feeling today? And he said, no, I'm good. I'm good. I said, you should be. You guys went further than anybody thought.
We went further than the Cowboys.
Youngest team in the playoffs.
Long it would sting. Because, I mean, you were a little bit playing with some house money.
Yeah.
Remember, a couple weeks ago, Bryce Young shredded your defense. All of a sudden, you're playing for a chance to go to the NFC Championship game. Now, fortunately for the city of Detroit, there's no way they would have been able to handle an NFC Championship game with Detroit and Green Bay. The city would have been an absolute just gong show. But I know you were close until the last drive by Purdy, and then whatever Jordan Love saw at the end. And I know people immediately said, hey, that's Brett Favre-ish. Well, if I was a Packer fan, I'd take a Brett Favre career if I had Jordan Love. Yeah. Here's the thing about the Packers and the Lions. Get ready for a lot of prime time. There will not be as many nooners at Lambeau as there was this past year. Green Bay is going to be featured heavily in prime time, and they should. They've got young wide receivers. Their offense is set for the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Matt LaFleur, as a play designer and a play caller, has more of a relationship, it appears, with Jordan Love.
Yep.
I mean, the Packers are in a really, really good spot, just like the Texans. I love what DeMeco Ryans said. He said, it's not our time. Now, what you do with your first year where you went on the road and played a playoff game and then won a playoff game as well, that determines where you're going with C.J. Stroud, and they got to fix some of the things in the trenches. But Green Bay and Houston are in really, really good spots, and we're going to see a lot of Green Bay and a lot of Detroit, but I think more Green Bay in primetime moving forward, which should make you very happy as a Bears fan.
Oh, I love it. That means
one of them will be your game every year.
It'll
be
like
Cowboys Giants.
It'll be a Sunday night NBC game, and I already can tell you how that game will go too. But anytime you get just a hint of life, and it's not like they've been down for very long at all, but you get a hint of life from Green Bay and the next superstar at quarterback that appears to be Jordan Love. My God, I can't even believe I'm saying this again too. Like, it's absurd with the stability that they've continued to have a quarterback, and given what we saw from Jordan Love, especially in the back end of this season. Good Lord.
Hey, can I have some, can you guys give me your hottest Brock Purdy takes right now ahead of the NFC Championship game? Your hottest Brock Purdy takes.
He wasn't very good. Wasn't very good Saturday.
Hey, at least he's got that defense and Christian McCaffrey, but hopefully Debo will be back. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm just that
Debo not being available is significant.
It is. And Brock Purdy just more than anything just wasn't good, but he had the final drive. That's fine. But
Dilford the game.
Yeah, but that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
He nails one drive.
Yeah. I mean,
6 of 7 on that drive.
And Josh Allen didn't nail one drive at the end.
The incompletion was the Kittle drop.
So this is the kind of my feel on that game, though, for people who are like, wow,
all the hot Brock Purdy takes possible here.
That Brock Purdy's a bum? Because I don't think that's the case.
Second coming to Steve Bono.
Yeah.
No, here. There are no excuses with San Francisco. Okay?
Nope. They're built.
They're healthy now. Debo out, just changed a little bit, but there's no excuses. They're in the NFC Championship game for the 4th time in 5 years. Now, who do you trust more on Sunday against Detroit? Kyle Shanahan or Brock Purdy? Kyle Shanahan's clock management skills are way out there.
Yeah.
Somebody must have closed down the coaching 101 end of halves or end of games clock management skills, because there's a lot of coaches that are lacking. Andy Reid is really, really bad at that. But Kyle Shanahan, I don't know what they were doing at the end of the first half on Saturday night. But with that said,
well, this is Mr. I don't run the ball when I have a lead in the Super Bowl.
You had no excuses. See, here's the thing with Brock Purdy, and I'm okay with Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy is okay. He's not, if you want to call him a game manager, fine. You know what?
That means they win.
He plays in a system that allows him to be great. They have enough talent around him, but he's in a system that allows him to be great. And for some reason, he had trouble with the rain. But on one drive that mattered most, he nailed it, and they won the football game. There's my Brock Purdy hot take. But the narrative is like he's the one guy that is so polarizing during the course of a Niners game.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes people get confused of the amount of conversations people have about Brock Purdy, again, because of where he came from as Mr. Irrelevant to now leading a team in the NFC Championship game and a team that has pretty good Super Bowl odds, that people, I think, want to make him out to be more than what he is. So that's why I think if you are going to take complete inventory of his season and that game in general, it's pretty much on par where he's reliable. I think, hey, there's a lot of organizations that would love to have that at quarterback, where you have a reliable guy, and when you pair him with an offensive mind like Kyle Shanahan, and then you pair him with a Kittle, with a McCaffrey, with a Samuel, with an Ayuk, with all of the weapons that they have, there's no question that he just needs to be that type of guy. He just needs to be the reliable guy. He doesn't need to be the game breaker. He doesn't need to be a Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't need to be even a Josh Allen. He just needs to be a reliable guy. And that's why that pairing, I think, is so significant. What I think is going to be very interesting in this game is, given how aggressive Detroit is, what they like to do defensively, how that will play into Brock Purdy's strengths, but also weaknesses. Is he going to be able to withstand that? Is he going to be able to take advantage of matchups that will clearly be there? And obviously there are going to be plays to be made. I think that that alone, Shanahan and Campbell and that matchup itself, I think is going to be great.
Middle of the field will be huge.
And
Detroit's offense, with the weapons they have, and Goff has a lot of weapons at his disposal, but the middle of the field will be a huge matchup because San Francisco can be a little bit vulnerable in the middle of the field, and then there's times they turn around and you go, damn, I got some linebackers. I think both games are going to be fantastic. We're going to be very, very lucky to have those four teams standing. All right, football, if you watched on Friday night, I said this, probably a hot take, probably going to get hammered. Oh, why are you whining? The Polynesian Bowl was not a very well-played game.
No.
Okay, it's all-star games where you got a bunch of new players that are together. You got quickly try and put in the game plan. It was a rough game, but that doesn't mean that there were not some things that stood out. I already know what I'm getting with the quarterback. Yep. Now, here's my thing with Dylan. So Dylan in the quarterback-ism is way ahead. He's going to need some refining, and he's going to learn quickly, hopefully not in a big game that bites Nebraska in the ass, is that you can't be freelancing and just rely on a big boy arm and try and slip it into a tight window. Now, you're eventually going to be able to do that, but you know what he'll try and do. I mean, there will be times this year where he will make some mind-boggling decisions, and then he will make some jaw-dropping plays.
Yeah.
But he's going to learn along the way that college football is quicker, the athletes are a lot better across the board, and there's some things you can't do. It'll be a whole learning process. So he is going to have at some points, a choppy first year. But there's going to be other points that you're going to go, damn, that's a big-time player. Now, here's what my wish is for him this spring. They get him out in the elements as much as possible. Dylan Raiola has never really played in cold weather at all, I don't believe. From Arizona to Georgia to the Polynesian Bowl. So you know what it's like when you flip the calendar into October and you go to Champaign on a Friday night and it's colder than you know what, and the wind is howling. I hope that in the spring, they get him outside as much as possible with his wide receivers throwing. Throw in the wind, throw in the elements, get a little taste of it, understand the wind, throw in Memorial Stadium where the wind can be tricky.
If there's a snow squall warning again.
I hope that's part of the spring of, you know what? We're going to be outside a lot, but let's get the quarterback in the stadium and let's get him used to throwing in the Midwest and playing in these elements and understanding what it's like. It didn't scare him away, but it will scare people away if you are not used to throwing with the win. Now, in terms of the wide receiver, that's what I'm going to call him. I think Carter Nelson's a wide receiver, not a tight end.
Oh. Okay.
I could see that. I mean, he's definitely not going to be an inline blocking tight end, that's for sure. And what he showed in the Polynesian Bowl was definitely more of a big play threat than a guy that you're going to all of a sudden just kind of match up on linebackers and look for that possibly in the red zone. Yeah, his size, and I thought that was kind of the fun thing to watch more than anything on Friday. And this is coming from a guy who hasn't watched really any games themselves of Dylan Raiola. But seeing Carter Nelson be able to play and make that adjustment to 11-man football and to see if it looked awkward at times, like he had a pretty good feel of it. And man, he stood out amongst a bunch of guys that are all going to various Division I Power 5 programs. To see Carter Nelson just really kind of stand out. You knew where he was on the field at all times. And so I already like the way that he's built, but for that size to be able to move like he does.
Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if he's going to be a wide receiver at Nebraska. I mean, there are two of the three that played in that game. Tom Mua, who I'll get to in a moment, I wish were early enrollees. I know in a small town, especially in small town Nebraska, it's a little bit tough to be an early enrollee. You're playing all the different sports, and good on Carter. He's playing basketball, and then he'll be, of course, in track. He would very much have an advantage of being here in the spring, working with his quarterback, but also route running.
Yeah,
I mean, they're gonna have to teach him how to run routes. But I just think, man, is he a wide receiver more than he is a tight end? Watching him in that game, we can say, well, he's that hybrid tight end. I don't know, man. He might be better utilized as a wide receiver instead of putting more weight on his body.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the plan is for him. And I would think that with those guys, especially your more high-end guys that you feel like can have an impact early on, that plan, what they're going to have for him, you can definitely see a lot more big play making ability than maybe what even some people originally thought. Again, having seen him for the first time in 11-man football and being able to move around, the fact that he was standing out, that would lead me to believe that he's going to be more than – I guess maybe I would be in that line of thinking of, oh, he's going to be your perfect prototypical hybrid guy. But I just don't know if he's necessarily doing a lot of inline blocking, because even to be the hybrid guy, he's going to have to be able to do some blocking, and you're going to have to probably change his body just a little bit. This is where I would, again, going back to what you said about Dylan Raiola and playing a lot more pitch and catch in the elements, but also for what they're going to do to Carter Nelson of having that plan in place for as soon as these guys arrive on campus and what they want to do ultimately with Carter Nelson's body, I think is going to be a big question and a big part of that going forward with what his ultimate role will be, because that dude can go make some plays, physical type of guy, and you see the speed. It's definitely there. So how would that play into the role of hybrid? That's the question.
The player that stood out the most to me of the three, I knew what I was getting with Dylan. Okay, when he drops back, he's calm. He's got all the Mahomes mannerisms. Boy, if you hate the Chiefs but you love the Huskers, you're going to have a terrible 3+ years here, because he has studied Mahomes.
Yeah.
His mannerisms are like Mahomes. He's got the haircut like Mahomes.
Hopefully not the voice.
He's got the pitter-patter feet.
He does.
So like when Mahomes runs, Mahomes runs
I love
pigeon-toed,
Nebraska.
like just pitter-patter.
Yep.
Raiola does the same thing. His ball security with holding the ball out. He had the sidearm throw in that game on Friday night. He's studied a guy that is his idol, because, hey, Dylan, I've been there as well. I once wanted to hit like Ken Griffey Jr. Okay, I had to swing down perfectly. The problem was I was a right-handed hitter, not a left-handed hitter. So you're going to have to put up with that. But you can see that, like, he has studied him, like just a little like nuances. And I think I tweeted that at somebody the other night. I'm like, damn, that is Mahomes. Now, he has had instruction from a quarterback coach that has also instructed Mahomes. So you say, hey, Pat can do this. This is the throw we do with Pat. Okay, I'll do it, coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, you study him, you study your idols, and you take stuff. We've all done that. Who hasn't done that in basketball? Okay. Who hasn't said, man, I want to be Jordan? So you went out on the blacktop and you practiced every shot that Jordan attempted. So I knew what I was going to get with Dylan. Okay. And I also know that, he can read defenses, and I think he can scan the field pretty well. And he's got the deep ball, and he's got a lot of confidence. But the guy that stood out to me, and I know in those games it's tough to watch because you don't know what number he's wearing, and they don't always they focus more on skill guys in the All-Star game. Nebraska has a chance. I think they're getting a dude in Tamua.
Mm-hmm.
He was, and I thought the defensive line that they were going against had some fellas on there. I thought he held his own. His size. So he's 6'4". I think he's up to about 320. His feet, for a kid that young, whoever he has learned offensive line under, man, he is in a really, really good spot. I wish he was on campus early. He won't be. And I don't know what that'll do to his availability for the fall, besides, hey, let's get you 4 games. Watch him. I was impressed by him. Man, he moves well. I hadn't seen much of him. Tom Mua was the guy that stood out the most to me, other than over the other 3, because of what I was looking for. Nebraska got a kind of a hidden gem, I think, that's coming from the islands to Nebraska.
I think it was the second play that he was a part of. I remember him kind of getting bent a little bit back. And you're right about the defensive line that they were going up against. But I remember wanting to see, okay, after that, where he looked like he kind of got moved off a little bit, it was the following plays where, he was holding his ground. He was able to, flush out the pocket, give his quarterback a pocket to step up into, like a lot of little things like that. But then also I felt like early on, there wasn't a lot of running of the football in the Polynesian Bowl. But anytime he had a chance to make initial contact, you were seeing him all of a sudden getting a second level too. So like he did stand out, especially which I'm sure a lot of Nebraska fans were, especially when they were on offense, because he was on the opposite side of Dylan and Carter, that you were watching him and just kind of seeing where he was progressing, like on each play and pass pro, and then what he was doing in run blocking. And that was the one thing more than anything that I noticed in run blocking is he was getting the second level kind of at ease a lot there early on too. So he stood out for sure. There was a lot of things to like about him.
How many linemen come to Nebraska, offensive or defensive linemen, that are more bust than booms? Not many.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that come from the island that play line, that make it past Oregon and make it past BYU and make it to Lincoln, usually turn out to have a nice career. I think he's a really, really good pickup for that offensive line. I mean, he looks pretty strong already. I mean, you're dealing with a kid that's 6'4", 320, probably will play at 330. I mean, dang. I was like, wow, they have something here. I mean, he plays with a lot of explosion. Like his hands were really good. I taped it. I went back because I was just focusing on him. That's a good pickup. After watching that game, I think he might be in my Super 6.
I think there's reason to be, considering what he represents as far as a major important position, but also, kind of what you saw. I can't remember if it might have been Sean, or it was either Sip or Sean, talking about how when they saw him out there in Hawaii, he looked a lot more lean. Like when you say 6'4", 3+, you're probably going to notice from a size-wise, especially like the width. And they said it came across a little bit more toned. And I wonder if a lot of that also kind of it messes with your eyes when you see how quickly he moves at that size. Because when I'm watching him next to all the other offensive linemen in that game, he didn't look like this big, stout dude. He just looked like a very well put together, very tall, imposing looking guy. And I think a lot of that is how quickly he was able to.
He looks like a Samoan offensive lineman. That's what he looks like.
I didn't see as far as the guy that if I thought 6'4", 320, I'd say, man, that's just like a very large, wide individual. He carries it well. He looked like he really carries his weight well, is probably the best way I describe it.
I think he's going to be in my Super 6.
I think he's going to be a good one. He looks like he could be a good one.
I think Keona Wilhite might be in a Super 6 if he commits to Nebraska. So he's at Michigan State yesterday. He is the 4-star edge rusher, and you cannot have enough pass rushers from Tucson, Arizona. And now it's Nebraska's turn to woo him. I love this. You know what? You know what the thing that has been exposed in college football this offseason? You know what the biggest thing that's been exposed?
That
Is
85 is just a
do
number?
not get caught up in the numbers
Yeah.
game. Do not get caught up in 85. Because whether you like loyalty or not, more competition is better. And there's the help now or help down the line. Do not get caught up in the numbers game in college football. It will work.
Yeah.
They will be legal. They will abide by all the NCAA rules. They will be fine. They'll get there. They're not gonna skirt it. They have some accountability, but don't get caught up in it because it is not a drop dead. Let's just move on to the next year. Always be prudent. And they got a chance today to bring in a pass rusher, and you cannot have enough of those. So, hey, you could say, well, what about the loyalty of the guys? No, I'm more in the competition.
Yeah.
Okay, I got no loyalty. Hey, and we all like to be loyal. Sometimes you're way too loyal. I like competition. Okay? So, yeah, I recruited you, but come on. Y'all want to win, right?
Well,
competition's going to make everybody better. So we're just going to continue to add, and then don't overthink it. We'll be fine. We're not going to cheat the NCAA. We'll be fine when it comes to our roster distribution. Don't worry about it. Don't get caught up in it. That's what everybody around the country is saying right now. If you just look up and down all the activity that's going on, you're like, yeah, it's don't get caught up in the numbers game.
This shouldn't surprise anybody either, by the way. It wouldn't. If you listen to Matt Rule after the season when he talked about bringing in competition and doing it the right way, as long as he's not pulling opportunities away from the current roster. And he's not. He's bringing in competition. He's not saying, hey, we're bringing this guy in. Sorry, we're going to strongly suggest that you go in the transfer portal. He's not doing that. He's bringing in competition. And I just think that if you are in the position that Matt Rule is, where you're looking at your roster, you're being able to evaluate what this season looked like, and then you're able to kind of look at your pipeline and what is coming up, you're able to put in those types of competitive aspects of that roster, which they are clearly doing. Maybe it's because we've heard that before. I know Scott Frost said it a lot too, of always looking to upgrade the talent on the roster no matter what the situation is. And then sometimes, maybe not necessarily lack of effort, but you wouldn't always see those wins. This is what they're trying to do. And again, I would agree. They're going to do it the right way. But more than anything, you are now creating competition just in areas, especially even where you thought, like, on the defensive side, but Nebraska's setting on the defensive side. They're still bringing in competition.
All right, Terry writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. I didn't watch the whole game, but Dylan has a fluid throwing motion.
It's very fluid.
I think about those off-balance throws that he had in the game. I can't remember who the last quarterback Nebraska had with that kind of motion. All the running quarterbacks and athlete quarterbacks we've had were better suited for throwing the shot put than a football. Made me salivate. Don't want to wish the best parts of the year away, but fall should be fun.
It's like a beautifully lazy throw. And I mean that with all the respect in the world. Like, because he makes it look effortless. And even on the interception where it was, I don't know if the receivers and quarterback weren't on the same page, but it's just like, it's just
a duck.
It's just a fling. Yeah. But it's just like a fling. But then throw a couple lasers there in the second half too. Like, as he throws, it's almost, is he getting his whole arm into it? But yeah, he is. It's just so quick. It's just a very quick, effortless, step-by-step that he's got down. It's impressive to watch.
When we come back, that again, college football never sleeps. There could be a lot of stuff going on today in college football. If there wasn't already this weekend in Columbus and Iowa City, we'll get into that. Coming up top of the hour, Jacob Bigelow stops by on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Will this be a tainted championship? In my opinion, it will be, yes. The fact that you had a coach literally sit out 6 games this year, this type of a scandal actually affected the play on the field to some degree. To what degree, we don't know. This scandal has to do with affecting the outcome on the field.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from a Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and breezy for your Monday. Watch out for a little wintry mix early on, mainly south of the metro. Otherwise, can't rule out some patchy fog throughout the day. Not going to see any sunshine. South-southwest winds gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour. Highs around 34. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dream Time Saving Traffic Center, the morning commute starting to settle down. You can still expect heavy traffic on westbound I-80 from 50th to 84th and on northbound I-680 from eastbound I-80 to ILQ streets. Expect short delays on northbound JFK from Chandler to L. Also expect slow traffic on eastbound Dodge from 168th to 150th. And southbound Blair Highway roads got slow traffic from State to I-680. Buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
The electrical market requires your company to adjust to an ever-changing field. IBEW Local 22 gives you flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, and proven training programs. Call Bob at IBEW Local 22 for details at 402-980-7596.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton men's basketball returns to CHI Health Center tomorrow for a Big East showdown with Xavier. With only 6 home games left, don't miss your chance to see Blue Jay men's basketball. To purchase tickets and follow along on all things Creighton athletics, visit gocreighton.com. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Churco. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. From fresh pastas handcrafted daily to house dry-aged steaks and focaccia bread baked daily, Churco is perfect for date night or any night. Churco features crafted unique cocktails as well as an extensive Italian and American wine list. Churco, located at 192nd and Q and CIRCOOmaha.com.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
It's pro time, Nebraska! The Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, are about to hit the court. Mark your calendars for January 24th at 7 p.m. when we host the first ever Pro Volleyball Federation match against the Atlanta Vibe at the CHI Health Center. Witness world-class talent, including national champions and Olympians. Don't wait. Secure your single match tickets today at supernovas.com to become a part of history.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Jimmy, did you play the Jim Nance, Tony Romo drinking game yesterday?
No, because I'm here right now. If I did, I might not be here right now. Might actually be passed out in a bathtub at home.
Tuned a lot of them out. He was weird yesterday. I don't know why he continues to say that Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are married. He said, "Hey, there's their brother-in-law." Why does he continue to do that? He was really weird yesterday, but they were the fourth best broadcasting crew. And guess what? We get him in the Super Bowl in 3 weeks.
Enjoy.
He mentioned the Patrick Mahomes.
He knows something we don't.
Game against Buffalo in the COVID year, or I think maybe Jim Nantz did. And then he had this really odd remark about that, where he goes, "Yeah, it's like when I play football at my house, and I think everybody's watching, and there's really nobody watching." And then it was, I think, an attempt at comedy, but then Jim Nantz clearly wasn't finding it amusing, and then so he had to sort of like transition into, but what you're saying, it's like, what was that?
Hey, they needed help on the fake punt.
Yeah.
They needed help from Jay Feely on what happened.
Yeah. So you got Gene Sarator and Jay Feely in on the broadcast now too. It's just great. You just sit there and like, "Hey Jay, what happened?" Just
Yeah, the three of us looked at each other like, what the hell was that?
Then okay, where did he come up with the Franco Harris thing?
I have no clue. I'm not during the fake punt. I'm not recalling that part.
No, early in the game when Kincaid knocked the ball out of bounds.
Oh, yes.
Why did he go with did he get confused about Franco Harris?
The Holy Roller?
Oh,
which was not Franco Harris?
Yeah,
it was Dave Casper.
I don't remember the Franco Harris route or that moment of the game.
I know what
where he made reference to it.
Buffalo fumbled, Kincaid got tackled, and the ball was loose, and he swatted the ball forward out of bounds. Romo got confused, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, that's a Franco Harris play." No, it's not. It's the Dave Casper play where he knocked the ball through the end zone, and it's called the Holy Roller play.
Mm-hmm.
On the complete opposite side of the country, because that happened in San Diego.
Oh, God help us all.
He's as weird as ever.
He is. That's the thing. He's
going to be in Vegas for a week. And
there's the goofiness that comes with like his just overall excitement of football and being able to watch a football game and call it. Like that's just always been part of it. But yeah, it's gotten awkward. And I know you brought this up a few weeks ago about him now rubbing off on Jim Nantz, where now Jim Nantz is sort of off and now he's screaming. Holy cow.
And he worked with Raftery and he wouldn't scream. So that just says a lot.
That was the one thing I always loved about Jim Nantz.
If I'm CBS, so Greg Olsen is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he and Kevin were good Saturday night. Real good.
Greg Olsen is about to become a free agent because Brady will be with Kevin Burkhardt. Olsen will be a free agent. If I'm CBS, I say goodbye to Tony Romo.
Lock him down.
And whatever years you have left with Jim Nantz, you put Nantz and Greg Olsen together.
Don't like Greg Olsen.
Yeah, don't let Nantz go out that way. Don't let Nantz go out where he's now being affected by Tony's goofiness.
He'll get back to Augusta and they'll bring him back to what we're used to. And
Jim needs to get back to having a little bit more of a soft, smooth delivery. I mean, it's always the thing in football, golf. It never mattered what sport he was calling. It was always consistent with his tones. And now all of a sudden
everyone's friend.
He's starting to roar a little bit.
Hall of Fame Day is tomorrow. We will see who goes into Cooperstown. Adrian Beltre is the only lock, but there are some guys that are trending the right way. I will be very selfish here. I am rooting for Joe Mauer. So
because won't you be able to go?
I will go.
You know,
my time with the Twins. I got to know Joe. I went to a Super Bowl party at his house on Fort Myers Beach when he was single. He owned a place on Fort Myers Beach.
Mm-hmm.
He had an elevator in his house.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
If any of you get up to Minneapolis to see the Twins play and you run into Tommy Watkins, the third base coach, ask him about Gary Sharp and Tommy Watkins getting stuck in the elevator at Joe Mauer's house before a Super Bowl game.
It's like an elevator at the old Rosenblatt.
Yeah. I think Joe is trending. I thought it might be the second ballot that he would get, or the second year that he would get in, but he might get in tomorrow.
Always a big fan.
Adrian Beltre is the only guy that I am a sure lock to be in the Hall of Fame announcement tomorrow.
Former San Antonio Missions great.
Is Todd Helton trending?
Yeah.
Okay.
Todd Helton's trending. I think Billy Wagner is trending.
Okay.
Joe Mauer is trending pretty well.
I'm all in favor of all this. Then again, I'm positive. And when you think positivity, you think me.
You're damn right we do.
Yeah.
Todd Helton.
Everyone get it.
TC writes into the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. Super Bowl halftime entertainment. How crazy would this have been if the Chiefs were to make it to the Super Bowl and Taylor Swift was performing at halftime? Because I thought off of her Eras tour that she would be the selection for the Super Bowl because it's in Vegas.
Is she too big for the Super Bowl?
Now, probably.
Oh, no.
No?
No. But I I believe that her international tour begins the first week of February. I think it does.
Wait, so she wouldn't be at the game?
Oh.
This could change everything.
Oh, well,
But Jason will be there and shirtless.
You know, you
so-
have the live satellite feed of like all the troops throughout the world.
Get
We have a
Taylor.
live satellite feed of wherever Taylor is if she's not actually at the game, like getting ready for her show. Maybe they're in different time zones. She'd be just waking up, having breakfast or something, watching the game.
Tim says, Gary, count for me how many sandwiches were in the Sandwich Zilla at the Lions game.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
The Sandwich Zilla thing was actually
I'm gonna
something.
set the over under at
It
12
was
and a
the
half.
hey, wasn't that the Scooby-Doo sandwich?
The Scooby Snacks?
No, the Scooby-Doo sandwich.
What's the Scooby-Doo sandwich?
You ever see Scooby-Doo would have the
Oh, yeah, the big tall ones. Yeah.
That's called the Scooby-Doo sandwich.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And we all tried to probably at one point in our life make one. And then our parents got really mad at us because they would never hold.
So I counted. I think there are 12 different sandwiches.
I just guessed. I mean, I knew the picture, but
You like your food. You know your food. So
12 variations
the
of that.
story behind this is
he was hungry.
he has like club access. And he went and he just started loading up on sandwiches. Someone initially said that he brought it from home.
That's even better.
I mean, now that would be pretty cool. Like, how would you bring that in? Because that's something you couldn't slide in your pants.
No.
Depending. So they apparently a reporter in Detroit had to figure out why a guy has Scooby-Doo sandwich, and he was in the club level and he just took 12 sandwiches, and somehow he found the big steak and he was able to just take him to his seat. Now, I would be miserable eating 12 sandwiches.
Well, how the hell do you eat that? I just get upset and frustrated.
Or he became
certain-
the most popular guy in his section.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's more of a prop thing than okay, fine. But like even like certain burgers that they exceed a certain height.
Your friend Guy usually has
how
to
do you do that?
hunch and
Yeah, like
shoulder.
big mouth burgers. You got to be trained to be able to take down a certain height of those sandwiches or burgers like that.
Sounds like a challenge for this show.
Yeah, I think there's a strategy
Looking
to
at
it.
you, Nick.
What's on the sandwich?
Whatever you want. Obviously, it's not chicken, but it's breakfast.
Looked like there
We
might have been a
discussed
little, like a little turkey and ham,
Yeah,
maybe a
turkey.
Cuban. Looked like there might have been a Cuban in
Ooh,
there.
see, a Cuban would be tough though because usually those, you get a little bit of the thick.
How heavy the pork is.
Yeah, exactly. You start getting some substance to those meats and some of those cured meats. Oof, that's tough.
Guys, heard you talking. This is from Bob on
Hi, Bob.
Twitter. Guys, heard you talking about Sports Illustrated. I had to reminisce on Friday when I heard the news that they were possibly shutting down. Best local covers of Sports Illustrated, go.
The Dougie Mac one. In fact, I just saw that one at I was at Play It Again Sports. They have this huge cutout of the Doug McDermott's recreating. It was the Larry Bird one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
That was
recreating the Larry Bird Sports Illustrated cover. That one was really cool. So that was the first one coming to mind just because I saw it on Saturday.
Is that the only outside of Bob Gibson? Is that the only Creighton Sports Illustrated cover?
It's got to be. I can't think of another one like.
I think the
that stands out.
Nebraska cover.
TO after the first national championship.
No, but that's in the top 3 along with the Crouch cover.
I was just gonna say the
Oh,
crash
yeah, there you
cover.
go.
I think you got to go way back, and this is so when you get off the elevator on the media floor of Memorial Stadium, they have all the Nebraska Sports Illustrated covers are framed.
Mm-hmm.
The 71 cover before the game of the century, Irresistible Oklahoma meets Immovable Nebraska.
Yep, I
I think
remember that
that
one.
is the most iconic
Yeah.
Nebraska SI cover.
And the old font too, because the
But the flat, yeah.
Yeah,
kind of hard to argue with that one.
The one that when I think of Nebraska football, the one that comes to mind always will be TO being lifted.
Which is fair, considering where you were and like, yeah.
Wasn't Tommy on one too?
Yeah. It wasn't Tommy's run against Florida, I think, was the cover after Nebraska won that national championship. I would say the 71 cover is number 1. The TO would be 2, and then I'd go Crouch 3. That was a good picture.
No.
Like it used to be, a big deal. Like when you would have the cover for the photog or the author would have their name on the cover. I mean, this magazines and newspapers have been trending in the wrong direction for now years.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get a private equity company that has such mismanagement, it goes even further down the hole.
It accelerates the process.
Yeah. Like we talk about this quite a bit. Can you save newspapers? Can you save Sports Illustrated? No, it's there. Hey, I still have a Sports Illustrated subscription.
Do you?
I bet I've had a Sports Illustrated subscription for 30 plus years. I still get it. It doesn't come every week. It's not like Thursday I rush to the mailbox to grab it like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have information at your fingertips. You had to wait until Thursday or Friday and then you would read it. But yeah, I still have a Sports Illustrated subscription. The last one, and it's sitting on my coffee table, is Dion as the person of the year. Not the personality, but the person
of the year. Yeah.
So
I would say
that was sad news. You know, another bit of sad news. The World Herald is moving out of downtown.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think they're going somewhere out west.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Lincoln Journal-Star moved from downtown to
like 2 years ago,
just outside of downtown. They're on Antelope Creek. They got a really nice building.
Yeah.
I've driven by it many times, but I don't know where the World Herald is going. But the World Herald is moving out of downtown Omaha.
Everything's moving out northwest Omaha. So I'm just going to make a guess it's in northwest Omaha. There's a lot of land, a lot of things going up. That'll be my guess.
Your new neighbor.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can save Sports Illustrated.
No, if they had followed the model, say, and became what the Athletic is, and maybe, but
I would think that the fact that you're still a subscriber, that's actually
probably because I'm too lazy to cancel, and it costs me like $9.99 a year.
Oh, that's
and you even get a football phone.
You don't even notice that. Do you get the football phone?
I don't get a phone. I don't get a jacket. I don't get anything.
Do you get exclusive
No.
Right hot off the press when
No.
remember when a team would win the Super Bowl, you
No.
could get the SI version of their
Nope.
team gear?
Nope. I don't get any of that.
Still remember.
See, you got to rely on Fanatics KC Chiefs gear when you could have got SI KC Chiefs gear, which if I remember correctly, they were never like really good. Like the team issued stuff, I shouldn't say team issued, but the SI spawn stuff wasn't really good, but it was like, well, it's from Sports Illustrated, so it's pretty cool. Because there was something cool about having
I would
SI
love to
stuff.
ask young journalists
That's Jacob.
that are writers, like your goal as kids, you would hear stories like Rick Riley and some of the great writers at SI. Their goal was to be at Sports Illustrated. Now, as the whole industry has changed, like what is the goal? Like you want to be a sports writer. Like where do you want to be?
Where do you want to go?
Like if you're an 18, 19-year-old that loves covering sports and writing about sports, like what is your goal today?
Strive for the Athletic.
I mean, maybe.
I would say that's the most
the
popular
Athletic has
one right
gone
now.
through a reorganization. I don't know. Do you grow up going, I want to write for the Athletic?
I wouldn't think so, but I'm just trying to think of
I want to work for the Onion.
Where you get your most the most source as far as pro and college that you're going to get, and you're going to get a lot of it. Is anybody do it more than the Athletic? I mean, I think the content at the Athletic is probably, again, from a college and pro standpoint,
Pretty good.
Is probably at the highest volume.
I have friends that work for the Athletic, so yeah.
But everything's so splintered now too. I mean, you can get if you're just team based, like say you're someone who is growing up being aspirations of just writing more pro sports. Are you going to? Because I think things are a lot more concentrated now. I don't think you look at more of the vague sports stories as opposed to if you're a Yankees fan. Well, you want to go to the Athletic and the Yankees side of it, or if you're a Cowboys fan, you're looking more at the more trusted, like the Athletic, but the Cowboys side of it, as opposed to, well, I want to just read more of the National Football League stories that may or may not involve nuggets on the Cowboys. I think there's just a lot of more. There's good talent, but I think a lot more concentrated work on it. Like, I mean, even on 3 for like college football and 24/7 sports. I mean, you get good stuff there. So if you're a diehard college football fan and you've got writers for 24/7 sports or on 3, well, you probably have a chance to make a pretty good living writing for them, I would think.
Baseball Marty brings this up. He says, maybe we could save SI like we save Baseball America. Now, it might be a little bit different because Baseball America has their audience is
loyal
baseball, but they also don't have much competition.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get Baseball America a couple of times a month, but their audience is built in, and they do such a good job because nobody else offers the scouting, the draft, prospects, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you've got a lot of online content with that, but I think they're still a very trusted source when it comes to that part of it. I'm trying to go back to now thinking of all of the sports magazines that would have existed in our time, like Sport Magazine, Inside Sports, Sports Digest.
Well, here's another one. A little bit sad. So I grew up on box scores in the Sporting News.
Yeah, I was thinking of Sporting
Now,
News.
Sporting
News,
I've told this before. I'm not afraid to admit it. I don't know if it's good or a bad thing. I learned how to read out of the sports page, the Des Moines Register.
I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, there's nothing shameful about that at all.
But I scoured the box scores in the Sporting News when I was a kid, when it would come out every week.
Can I ask why?
Baseball.
Yeah,
just love
just what you're about. That's cool.
Look all the box scores now. Find me a newspaper now that prints box scores.
No, you get late.
They don't. But the Sporting News went from being an every week, basically tabloid.
Mm-hmm.
Then they tried to be a magazine, and now they don't exist in the physical copy.
Right.
They're only online, and they just had a major round of layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So Sporting News, Sport. There was a brief time with the National. Remember before USA Today really got going, they had the National sports page.
Yeah.
Sports
Digest was
Sports Illustrated was
it
was the thing.
And they had a lot of competition then too, but you couldn't even come close to touching.
But you didn't have, okay. Some of the most iconic covers are from golf and the Masters, and you couldn't wait until Thursday to get that story written by Rick Riley.
Yep.
Or, turn to the back page where they had the column. Now it's, by the time it reaches your mailbox, it's old news.
Yeah.
You want it immediately. That's, newspapers. That's why newspapers have gone, their websites and all that kind of stuff. And, it's the model has changed so drastically that I don't know if newspapers are going to be able to make a comeback or find a new niche, just like a Sports Illustrated. I don't know how you save it. They have good writers. They have good content online, but that's, do they finally shut down the magazine and go all online?
Well, and I wouldn't want to also exclude the photography as well, because growing up, when I could care less about reading more about the team, if I knew like my team, whether it was a Bears story or it was a Cleveland story or anything, I wanted to see the pictures. Yeah.
Like
I just wanted to see all the pictures, and they were cool as hell. And then I'd cut them out and I'd hang them up on my wall. I mean, that was also a big lure of Sports Illustrated, was the photography.
Right. Let's get to Bob to finish the. Good morning, Bob.
He has a good one.
Bob?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Bob.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, go ahead, Bob.
I had my favorite Sports Illustrated that I don't think you mentioned yet was Sports Illustrated preseason college football issue for 1965. It had Frank Solich running on the cover, and it said, "Nebraska goes for number one."
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, that is
great.
I do remember that little Frankie. What was that against?
Frankie,
was it against Oak? What is it? The picture was an Oklahoma game, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was just kind of a small picture on the cover, and it showed Solich running the ball, and the headline was "Nebraska goes for number one." And it was the 65 preseason college issue.
Okay.
Nice.
That's
and
awesome.
Of course, the other good one is the before the game of the century. That's a great one.
Yes. Hey, how about the one? Do you remember this, Bob? The one with Devaney. Devaney was on the cover, and it says Nebraska goes for 3 straight.
Absolutely. I remember that.
There was because I remember because they have these on the wall in Lincoln. Rick Burns was on a cover.
That's right. That was probably after the Oklahoma game, I'm guessing.
Yes, it was, because it was about. I think the title was "It Burst Oklahoma's Bubble."
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, he had a hell of a game.
Yep. Bob, thanks for the call.
Hey, you bet. Thanks, guys.
So Frazier, and correct me out there if I'm wrong. Frazier's been on 2 covers. So
yeah, because
they did a Fiesta Bowl preview that he was on the cover, and then his run against Florida was on the cover.
Yeah, there's one of him throwing the football, if I remember correctly.
That's the Fiesta Bowl preview.
Okay.
Amon and Rozier have been on a cover. Jared Crick has actually been on a cover.
That was the Big Ten one. Didn't it say the new bullies of the Big Ten, if I remember correctly? Unless that was it said new bullies of the Big Ten, and it had Jared Crick on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think anything. more recent than that.
I don't think
there is.
Nebraska football has been on an SI cover since then.
I wouldn't think so either. I remember having the Larry Bird, the Celtic Pride one. That was one. Was the Tiger?
Yeah, it's 2011. That cover was from 2011.
Yep. Was the Tiger Masters win the 2018 one? Wasn't that one of the only ones that didn't even have anything on it? It was just a picture of Tiger, arms extended, and again, that there are moments where let's just let the picture do that. Like that, even that was like such a cool shot, cool move of like, yep, we don't need to even caption this.
Jacob Bigelow kicks off the last hour. Amy Just from Lincoln Journal-Star will stop by as well. Tomorrow's Hall of Fame Day. It's also double dip of basketball. Creighton and Nebraska are both at home. We'll discuss all of that. And eventually we will get to if Jason Kelsey can chug a shot out of a bowling ball. The most unique thing that you have chugged out of. Can't be a beer bong because we've all been there.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Mine might be the best. Might always say that for the crossover.
Okay.
Jacob's coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Rock from the darker side. Disturbed live. Down with the sickness. Take back your life tour. January 29th. CHI Health Center Arena. New album Divisive. Available now. With special guest Falling in Reverse and Plush. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Disturbed live.
You can find pizza anywhere, but when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. We have 3 games left in the NFL season, and 2 of them are going on this weekend. It is Sunday, Conference Championship Sunday, and right now, new customers, if you go to FanDuel.com/1620, you can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you have to do is place a $5 bet. So whether you like a side in one of these 2 games, whether you like a total, don't forget to check out all of the awesome props that they have as well, not to mention same game parlays and a whole lot more. And again, go to FanDuel.com/1620. You can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
O'Reilly.
Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
It looks like your luggage is over 50 pounds. Is there anything you can take out?
Oh, yeah. Let me just toss all these $20 bills.
Great. Let me grab you a trash can.
Stop. Instead of throwing money away, move some clothes into a carry-on. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source. By your mom's house.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Dream Time Saving Traffic Center, the morning commute starting to settle down. You can still expect heavy traffic on westbound I-80 from 50th to 84th and on northbound I-680 from Center to Pacific. Expect short delays on northbound JFK from Chandler to L. Also expect slow traffic on eastbound Dodge from 168 to 150th. And southbound Blair Highway Road's got slow traffic from State to I-680. Buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Lauritsen Gardens. Experience Brick Live Brickosaurs, now open at Lauritsen Gardens. Come face-to-face with a herd of incredible brick-built dinosaurs, discover prehistoric plants, and unearth a ton of fun. To plan your family's Dynamite adventure, visit lauritsengardens.org.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
It's the last weekend to save. During 42 Degrees, buy one, get one 50% off sale on all pipes and premium THC flower. That's right. Buy one, get one 50% off on the largest selection of quality glass pipes and premium THC flower. Stop into any 42 Degrees location and talk to our knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff and save with our buy one, get one 50% off sale. 42 Degrees. Buy your mom's house.
1620 The Zone is on location Friday, January 26th at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pink Out Game, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers. You can find details on 1620thezone.com and at cancer.org/pinkout.
Hey fans, looking for the best seats without the hidden fees? Then you need to check out Tickets for Less. Whether it's Creighton games, Husker matchups, or big-time concerts and events, they've got you covered, all with no service fees. Now, you ready to score a deal? Use the code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com and save on your next event. You prefer to go mobile? Grab the free Tickets for Less app and shop with ease. Every seat holds a story, so find yours and save when you use the promo code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com and the Tickets for Less app today.
Tickets for Less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Super Bowl halftime show, name the year.
What?
Super Bowl halftime show, name the year.
Bengals.
Oh,
Rams,
this was
2022.
Yeah, LA.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. We are joined now by Mr. Basketball.
It was great, by the way, too.
Jacob Bigelow joins us, who I must say thank you to. Jacob and I had a discussion on Friday. I was on his podcast. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Once again, yeah, appreciate you hopping on. And no, it was good discussion on little Mavs, little Huskers, little Danny Niera. It was fun.
Before we dive into what happened on Saturday and what must happen tomorrow night, let's talk about Big Ten. So Shannon is back. I watched Edie get a lot of favorable whistles against Iowa, which I think there's something. Fred McCaffrey will be interesting to watch the rest of the year. The best team, the team that gives the Big Ten the best chance to make some noise in March, Purdue or Illinois with Shannon back?
That's a great question because, Illinois, they were showing us some things even without him. So Illinois, they're making a case, but right now I think it's still Purdue right now. I think their ceiling's a little bit higher. I think, Illinois with Shannon and Coleman Hawkins, they're on the court together. There's a chance for a lot of silly shot selection. And I'm also I still refuse to believe in Brad Underwood. So I will take Purdue.
The Big Ten, as we get into the final full week of January, to you is a how many bid league?
6 or 7, depending on how things shake out right now. I think, the way it's looking, you've got the for sure group of Purdue, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and then you've kind of got, the next tier, which I would say right now includes Nebraska, and they're in there with Northwestern, and Ohio State had been on a streak, but they got right against Penn State over the weekend. I think if they win enough, they could be a tournament team. And then Michigan State has appeared to, Izzo's kind of been saying for the last couple of weeks that they're going to make a run at some point. They may be on that run now. And then Maryland, if they win enough and beat the right teams, they could get a bid too. So there's kind of, and did I say Northwestern? I forget if I mentioned Northwestern or not. But yeah, no, that's kind of the second tier of teams that if they win the games against the right teams and have enough wins at the end of the year, they could hear their names called.
All right, Nebraska to me is a good weird team. They were up only 4 at the break, but yet they shot 69% from the floor. What's the weirdest part to you of this team, if you agree?
I would agree. They are a weird team. I don't know if this is a generalization for the entire season, but the thing that stuck out to me looking at the box score after that game was it was the fewest threes they'd attempted all year. They only took 13, and they'd been averaging, I think, north of 25 3-point attempts, per game coming in. And, and that is in part due to how Northwestern was defending them. The lane was open for cutters or, to feed it inside the rink mass. But, we haven't seen back-to-back performances from Nebraska that looks the same. I think that they've shown multiple ways to win games, which can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. But, I would agree they are a good, weird team.
We were talking about this on Friday, kind of post Rutgers going into the weekend about rink mass, and maybe I was a little harsh on him after the Rutgers game. I probably failed to consider there could be some fatigue setting in, especially after the knee procedure. Is there signs, in your opinion, of maybe a little bit of that with Rink right now?
I think he looks gassed at the end of these games.
Load management, baby.
Yeah, and that's because he's having to play a ton of minutes, and coming off the knee procedure, and then also like just the matchup. I mean, the matchup with Cliff Amore against Rutgers. I mean, that's gonna take
wear anybody out.
A lot out of anybody. But I think Rink looks pretty exhausted at the end of these games, and that's why we found out after the game that Blaise Cato was available only in an emergency to go get a rebound. But if he progresses well enough to, be able to actually play by the end of the season and give Rink a breather at some point, that would be massive. I think, he's definitely, we talked coming into the year about the adjustment period, moving up to Big Ten competition. And, he's, some nights you have it, some nights you don't. And he, had a couple, not great games in a row, but I think my biggest thing is, load management, and he's looked pretty exhausted on top of how much he sweats as is. So,
wow,
he does sweat a lot.
He does not sweat like Buzz Williams.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of sweat, man. Whole buckets of it.
I did not expect that today when you came on, that you would just crush Rink Mass for being a sweater.
Nah, hey, I'm not.
He perspires.
I'm not crushing his play. He does sweat quite a bit,
which I think could be an advantage.
After that Rutgers game, I mean, he looked like he got mauled by a small animal on his shoulder.
Because he did. He was wearing number 11 for Rutgers.
Yeah, it was a Wolverine.
Yeah.
Is this portable? Something that I noticed, and man, Alex stepped up. You get good news on Friday about Juwan Gary, and so Alec and Rice are going to have to find different roles, but their minutes are going to increase. Is it portable that Josiah Alec could play more with his back to the basket, like we saw on Saturday?
I mean, it's pretty matchup dependent, but I think it is. I mean, that's kind of the.
He looked comfortable.
I think he did too. Yeah, I mean, the back to the basket, using his frame and athleticism to get to the rim and finish there. I mean, that's that's what you want to see from him. I think that's the ideal role for him is, play inside, play at the rim, and then be, crashing the glass on both ends of the court. And, right now, I think it's portable. He had found his own little niche the last couple games. He's coming into his own, scoring in double figures, and right now he's on a hot streak. So for now, I'd say yes.
Another guy that is showing more offensive presence, but I want to know what the realistic expectation is for him, maybe from a shot volume standpoint, is Bryce Williams. Had 2 3-pointers, 2 attempts, 3-pointers against Northwestern. I think it was 6 against Rutgers. What would be a comfortable number in your opinion on what Bryce Williams could sort of average out each night?
Are we talking just total FGAs?
I think total field goal attempts.
No, I think around 10, 12.
Okay.
I mean, I think the perfect, I think what you want to see from Bryce Williams was the 2 instances where he brought the ball up and just went straight to the rim. He had a nice Euro step through finish at the rim on one of those coast to coast takes, and he also stepped out. He hit 1 3, but I mean I think that's what he needs to be. I think he's got to be your guy on offense, and he's been a little bit of a roller coaster. I mean, it's all been a roller coaster, but I think there's weird team. But I think Bryce Williams. I think outside of the Tominaga bombs, I think what I've seen from Bryce Williams has been the most. This guy needs to do more of that, on offense if Nebraska wants to, sustain success.
Hey, so how come I can't get more of that with Jamarcus Lawrence? He attacked on the drive early, and then I'm not really sure where he went.
I'm not sure either. I really liked what I saw from Jamarcus. I liked seeing him attack. He stepped out and hit a big 3. And he had kind of been on that struggle bus recently, but back to weird team. But they just that's the bonus of having so many guys. The legitimate depth that they have is these guys can you want to see consistency obviously from them as a group, but they're guys have stepped up, picked up the slack for others while they're slumping, and the guys plenty of guys have shown what they're capable of, and now I'm just going to be calling them a weird group for the rest of the week, even going into a big one.
But they're a weird good team.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
And the other big question I think everybody has when it comes to what to expect from this team is defensively, why it's not happening on the road. I mean, for you, Jacob, is it more just of the matchup itself that they've had, or is there something that you're able to kind of pick out each time they go on the road defensively where you're not seeing the same type of level of play that you do at home?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I think that Iowa game was the worst defensive effort I've seen from them. I mean, there's kind of a lot of similarities in some of these losses. I mean, Iowa, Wisconsin, Creighton. I mean, giving open looks to guys who are shooting 40% from 3, lazy closeouts, helping off good shooters. But that's just kind of you live with they're the scramble drill. You die by the scramble drill. I mean, we saw it work to perfection against Purdue with their rotations, their communication, and what they envision it looking like against teams that are have capable 3-point shooters. But the worst 2 examples are that Iowa game and that Creighton game. And then Wisconsin, I wouldn't say it was bad. It was more so they were just like a step slow. They were just a step slow. They were just a little too late. But those teams are also, that's their bread and butter. It's getting shots from 3 and getting going. So, I mean, it's just kind of, it's a little bit of both, matchup dependent, and then, energy and, all that, all those other intangibles.
All right, let's play a little game here because Nebraska, it slows down a bit because they only play 2 games in the next 10 days. Ohio State tomorrow night at home, which is a huge game. Then they go to Maryland, which they got to win a road game. I mean, if it's Maryland, Northwestern, Michigan, Indiana, I'll take that foursome. but there's no guarantees there. At home, they're 12-1. Then they don't come back home until February 1st against Wisconsin, which that's a standalone game. The net this morning, and I'm checking, just hit refresh, so I'm up to date, is 56. I would feel comfortable if I was Nebraska if I got a 4 in front of the next number. They're still in a fairly good spot. The next 3 games, Nebraska must go 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3.
2-1. I think that would definitely 2-1, 3-0 would be incredible, but I mean 2-1. I think is the baseline. I think that Ohio State tomorrow night, huge game. They had been slumping, but they got right against probably the team that's going to finish 14th in the conference. Their guards are really good. They also Jameson Battle's kind of been a Husker killer in his career. Last couple years at Minnesota. Now he transferred into Ohio State. Maryland, I could only imagine hosting big Terp overreaction all year this year, watching some of the games they play. Jameer Young's a really good player. He's an all-conference player. He's really, really good. But the rest of that team, man, I don't know what to think about any of them, except for maybe Angel Reese's brother. He's pretty good, but he can also, he's that's a roller coaster too. And then that Wisconsin game, I mean, that's the biggest game left on the schedule by far, in my opinion. That's the, like you said, standalone Thursday night prime time. There'll be plenty of juice in there, and it's definitely the biggest game left on the regular season slate for Nebraska.
So your expectations tomorrow night with Nebraska, again, being at home. You mentioned Ohio State, their guards, what they have too, and you're right about Jameson Battle from Minnesota. Is it the carryover? Is this where we've now kind of just put Nebraska in it? They're going to be fine at home, and there's real no reservation about what we expect to see.
I don't know about no reservation, but I mean they're a completely different team at home, and they feed off the crowd and the energy and all of that so much, and it's played a factor in in all their bigger wins at home, I think, and they I think I expect them to play well. I'm interested to see how they defend Ohio State's backcourt. Their big guy is serviceable, but he definitely hasn't progressed the way I thought he would. Zed Key, and then I mean they've got some guys who can definitely beat you on their own, but they've got guys who can cost Ohio State the game on their own too, with shot selection or getting too ball dominant. So it'll be an interesting game, but I mean I'm expecting Nebraska to play well.
At home, yes. Peacock, yes. And remember, we're coming up 2014, about the same date, court storming against Ohio State.
Yeah, I think that anniversary I think it just passed last week, if I remember right. I saw it just passed last week. They're not going to storm the court against this Ohio State team, but yeah, Nebraska is undefeated on Peacock so far with a double-digit margin of victory.
Oh, there you go. There's a little nugget that you only get from Jacob Bigelow. Be good. We'll see you tomorrow night in PBA. Don't be late, by the way. Quit showing up late for games.
No, as long as my car decides to start tomorrow, which it did this morning, did not want to start on me on Saturday afternoon, and we were fashionably late, but we're planning on being on time tomorrow.
I told you not to buy a Tesla.
I don't have that kind of bankroll, man. Don't have that kind of bankroll laying around, but yeah, thanks again. Appreciate that, like always, guys.
Thank you.
See you.
Tomorrow night, Nebraska and Ohio State. They go at 6, and then Creighton and Xavier go at 7:30. 7:30 is such an odd time for a college basketball
like
game.
an NBA game.
It is.
Spurs games are always
at FS1 or wait a minute. That feels like a
Is it CBS Sports?
CBS Sports Network.
Let's look.
I know this is compelling right now. Let's see.
You need like a.
Shouldn't you know, Jimmy?
I should know these things.
Creighton is FS1 tomorrow night.
Okay.
FS1.
Good.
All I know is I don't do overtime, so that's all that matters.
So Saturday's game, the pink out game, but it is DePaul. Normally, Creighton and DePaul would be a CBS Sports game, but since it is a Saturday evening game, I feel like that doesn't get the CBS Sports treatment.
Oh, no, that's CBS Sports Network.
Is it Saturday? Oh, jeez.
No, wait a minute. No, that's FS1.
Okay, good.
CBS Sports Network was out in Chicago. Hey, I would, for the visuals of that game.
Yep.
FS1's making
That
a good
is
call.
Yep, that is an FS1 game.
All right, Amy Jess coming up next.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cloudy and breezy for your Monday. Watch out for a little wintry mix early on, mainly south of the metro. Otherwise, can't rule out some patchy fog throughout the day. Not going to see any sunshine. South-southwest winds gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour. Highs around 34. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
This is a sale so hot, Standard Heating and Air can only do it once a year. Right now, buy a Carrier air conditioner from Standard Heating and Air and get a free furnace. Now, that's a hot deal.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
The Home Depot makes it easy to shop and save on appliances in-store and online. Enjoy savings on top brands like GE, LG, Frigidaire, Whirlpool, and more. Find kitchen appliances with helpful features like customized organization and save time with laundry appliances that have faster wash and dry cycles. Final days to get up to $450 off select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid January 4th through 24th. Gas ranges and dryers extra. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
If you're having problems in the bedroom, talking about it is the last thing you want to do. Same goes for hair loss, anxiety, or even depression. That's where HIMS comes in. Through HIMS, you don't have to talk about it. You can do something about it. Just go to hims.com/start, where you can find a variety of potential solutions for the problems men face every day and save up to 95% on generic alternatives. The entire process is 100% online, making it incredibly simple, straightforward, and above all, private. If prescribed, treatments made using clinically proven ingredients are shipped directly to your door in low-key packaging. So if you're experiencing ED, hair loss, anxiety, or problems with your general health, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com/start and do something about it. Get started today at hims.com/start. That's HIMS.com/START.
Yeah, we're replacing the carpets too, so don't worry about that.
No fresh powder yet, but Dan's Ski Lodge has an avalanche of projects.
Those 4 rooms are getting hot tubs.
He needs a staff engineer to navigate a flurry of new requests.
And all of those will be fully ADA accessible.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Kevin Moret from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, in the over 23,000 clients who came to us for testosterone treatment, most clients start so they can do it right. After helping men for over 10 years, every day we see new clients whose treatment had shortcuts on treatment and monitoring. This not only affected their results, it was also risky. Guys, work with a doctor, one who monitors your care, reviews labs, and modifies your dose. Our doctors will optimize your free testosterone and maximize you mentally and physically. Schedule in Omaha at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
The Omaha men's basketball team hits the road and they're headed to T-Town into Tulsa to take on Oral Roberts. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp. Join me Thursday night in a key Summer League showdown for the Mavs on the road as they take on the Golden Eagles of Oral Roberts. We'll be on the air on a new stock 1290 Coil with a pregame show at 6:30, tip-off 7 o'clock.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, here on the Monday, we welcome in our good friend from the Lincoln Journal-Star, Amy Jess. She joins us. Good Monday morning. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to play a little word association here.
Oh boy.
No, this is good.
Is it?
Yes, I say Sports Illustrated, and as a journalist, maybe at one time early in your career, you said, man, I would like to have an SI byline. I say Sports Illustrated, word association. You say what?
Complicated.
How did they? I know the industry has changed because you're in that industry as well. But how did Sports Illustrated change so quickly?
Well, when so it was sold from its original owners to Meredith Corporation, and then shortly thereafter, Meredith sold it to the private equity ghouls who just destroyed it. Started off with those fan site things, which have a purpose, but still branded them as Sports Illustrated. So that diluted the brand a little bit. I love fan sites. I read them all the time. But lumping them all under Sports Illustrated and calling them Sports Illustrated writers was part of it. And then continually laying people off. Now the use of AI, pretending that they're real people when they're not, then saying, "Oh, we didn't do that, you did." It's sad that it's come to this, because it used to be, what every aspiring sports writer, all of us, wanted to work there. And it's just sad to see it come to this.
Well, and Amy, you kind of answered my question. For someone who obviously knew that this was going to be a career path for you, how high in regard you would hold Sports Illustrated at the time that you were, looking for those type of career goals? Was that still considered to be, one of the highest achievements? If you, like Gary said, if you have a byline for Sports Illustrated, or did you, at that point, even, did you kind of see maybe its overall stock a little bit diluted?
So for me personally, and I touched on this on Twitter, I'm not calling it X. I refuse. I had wanted to work there until about, even with the sale, until about 2020, 2021-ish. And that's for personal reasons that I would love to get into, but can't.
Oh.
All right.
Personal reasons.
Okay. We'll respect that.
I got you.
Believe me, I want to talk about it, but.
All right, we'll do that on the podcast. You set the time. I'll come down with the microphone. Hey, let's shift to Saturday at the Devaney Center. That was pretty cool to have Coach Nee back. He was back in his element for a couple of days.
Where?
Say it again.
Oh, you did say the Devaney Center, yeah.
Oh, I did say.
Yeah. See? You leaned into it.
I wanted that game to be at the Devaney Center to really lean into the tribute. So at Pinnacle Bank Arena, which Danny said, "Man, this place is really nice. It's beautiful. I wish I had this." So he had a great couple days in Lincoln. He was back in his element. It was so great to see so many former players back, because there was a stretch not too long ago where they couldn't get as many alumni back, but there were a lot of guys that came back because they wanted to be there. And Fred reached out to some guys to say, "Hey, we're having this event. We'd love to have you back here. We got Coach Nee, blah blah blah." Before we talk about the game, the one maybe down the negative is, and I don't know where you'd put it because I'm asking you, is the ceremony was kind of rushed, of honoring the guys that were back. Is there any good way to do one of those things where you get that's what I thought is, where would you do it where you get extended time to really give all the legends that are back their appropriate due, instead of just, rifling through the names, bam, 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 bam.
And it's a blessing and a curse to have that many guys back, because if you want to do it right, you need to read off all of their names and trot them all out there. But you can't do it before the game, because the players for both teams are warming up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's one thing if it's like a jersey retirement ceremony and, you know how long that's probably going to take, and you alter warm up for that. But you can't do that before the game. So you do it at halftime. But there's only so much time to do it. Do you do it after? I don't know.
Yeah.
That feels like an afterthought, though, if you do it after.
Right.
I don't know if there's a right answer, but I'm glad that they did it, because they deserved to. There were so many people back, and it was really cool to see all of them, there supporting Danny even if they didn't play for Danny.
Mm-hmm.
What was cooler about the day? Was it Derek Pikowski's half-court shot or Nebraska's uniforms? Because those uniforms were sweet.
The uniforms were cool. But I gotta say, Pike's half-court shot.
It was impressive.
That
He said
was
he
cool.
said he did not. He said he did not practice it.
I mean, I believe it. Did you see his first two attempts?
Yeah, he had two practice shots before he made it. So we can call those.
Yeah. What is the one? So now back to the game that was played, and speak about hitting big, deep shots. Tominaga hits one to put the dagger in.
Mm-hmm.
What's the mystery of Tominaga? Like, what if you could sit down with him? What would be the first question you'd ask him?
I just want to know how. Like, anytime I see him chuck one up from wherever, whether he's being face guarded by two different people, all I can do is laugh because some way that's going in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember last season when he made one from like the FNBO logo?
Yep.
That I started laughing like maniacally when he made that one. Because what do you do?
Yeah.
Who's
Well,
going to guard him out there?
Yeah, as a defender, you're like,
Who even takes that? Right? Like, he's something.
Oh, and okay, so when we've watched this team, and there's a lot of things to kind of appreciate about this team, personality-wise. Hearing a lot more from Josiah Alec lately. Besides just his overall play on the floor, and it was a big role, especially on Saturday, the way that he played. As far as him kind of being, I maybe for lack of a better term, the mouthpiece of this team, is he one of those guys that we're kind of maybe getting into as far as a soundbite, a guy that kind of seems like he does sort of represent this team and just its overall personality?
He's always been that. I just think that he's played well lately to where he's the one talking. But he's always been that. Got to go back to Big Ten Media Days in October?
Yeah.
And he dropped some gems there too. Like, if you go back and listen to the interviews that he gave when he was at, New Mexico or UMKC, I guess it's Kansas City now, but still, like, he's always been that. He's always been that guy. But now he's, because he's played well, has been accessible, and he's given us the fire throwers and all of those quotes.
Yes, and as you know, people didn't miss it earlier in the year. Amy did a story on Becca and Josiah. Hey, let's shift to football real quick, and a big picture football. So Ohio State's on a roll. They've had quite a haul. Then they get another 5-star quarterback that's going to transfer from Alabama. So they're going to have a couple of 5-stars in the room. They have all kinds of competition, and somebody will pick up a 5-star Ohio State quarterback off the transfer portal in a year or two. Iowa got Caden Proctor to come back home, but it was maybe a slam dunk, but it came with a price. Why do you think schools are hesitant to say, yeah, he's coming here because our collective is better than yours?
Well, I think that if you look at what's happening at like Florida State, for example, like, they don't want to talk about NIL publicly because a lot of places they're, the brass, the athletic director and all of that have told them not to. Like, you can talk about it in recruiting and all of that, of course, but the texts that I got from the people that I know in the industry after Rule talked about how much transfer portal quarterbacks cost, they were like, he really said that? Like, in the press conference? Like, so many of them have been told that they can't do that. So Rule's going to do what he wants, of course. But yeah, a lot of them have definitely been told not to talk about that. So I think that's probably why. And also because they want to err on the side of caution with it publicly because they don't want to do anything that could cause them an NCAA violation.
They're so public about, hey, you know what? We want our fans to step up. If you have a credit card, swipe it. You know what? If you win one of those, I think you should be able to say, hey, fans, thank you. Mm-hmm. You're the reason why we got a 5-star safety that's transferred from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could do that, maybe. I just think they're scared of potential ramifications, whether that's from their own athletic department or the NCAA. Right or wrong.
Yeah, Billy Napier.
Yeah. Okay.
Another busy week. We'll see you at Pinnacle Bank Arena tomorrow night.
It'll be something.
It will against the Ohio State.
God, why do you give them that? Why?
Because that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
It is a university that happens to be in Ohio that's really good at a lot of things.
We get slapped with an FCC fine if we don't say it that way.
Hey, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And that's Amy Jess from Lincoln Journal-Star. Hey, I will give you a subtle thing. We got to beat the drum here. All right, and beat the drum. If you win a collective battle, it's okay to say that. Iowa Swarm, say, hey, Caden Proctor, yeah, you guys all thought it was a slam dunk that he was coming here? Yeah, probably. But you know what? We needed to step up and give him some cash. You guys stepped up. Thank you very much. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. Our collective is better than Nebraska's collective.
You got to have good testimonials.
Also, it sucks, man. I think Nebraska lost the offseason national championship this weekend. They got to get back at it. Hey, Will Height, you better be in Lincoln. Here's a subtle thing.
Challenge.
So for the longest time, good quarterbacks didn't come to the Big Ten. Too cold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if you're playing in Buffalo? Okay. Do you think the SEC is going to get you ready for playing in Buffalo?
Nope.
So with the 5-star saying that's going from Alabama to Ohio State, 5 of the top 8 quarterbacks in the class of 2024 have committed to Big Ten schools. We back, baby.
Yeah.
We back. That is almost unheard of. That, to me, is one of the top 2 developments in the offseason in the Big Ten, is that 5 of the top 8 quarterbacks in high school football have committed to Big Ten schools.
And at some point, they're going to have to deal with October and November weather.
But usually it's just like 1 or 2 or maybe 3. 5 of the top 8 have committed to the Big Ten in the class of 2024.
And the weather thing is acknowledged. Like anybody watching the Polynesian Bowl, when Dylan Ryla had the interview, I think he was the first guy that was interviewed during the broadcast, had brought up that part of it of being able to win in the cold. It was because they were talking about the weather in Hawaii, and they talked about something that actually kind of excites them. Yeah, I feel like coaches try to do a good job of selling how fun it can be to do that, even if you haven't experienced that. And then the first time you get the real first taste of it, you're probably like, yeah, this is supposed to be fun. Yeah, I don't think so. But you're right. If you're going to be a next level player, you don't know where you're going to wind up. You don't know where you're going to get drafted. You don't know what division you're going to be playing. You might have to get used to that. Like, I feel like it's being sold a lot better now.
Hey, that's scary for the SEC. I mean, the Big 2 in that category, in the most important position on the field, Big Ten's won the 2024 cycle. All right, we'll come back. We'll put a wrap on the show. Get you ready for the crossover. It's Jack Collinsworth is back tomorrow night for the Peacock game.
Has he got Robbie Hummel?
Stephen Bardo.
Okay.
It's a new Dick Enberg. Kids are like, wait, who?
Is it
really?
Who's that? Is it Jimmy?
Yeah. They both worked for an NBC affiliate.
They both have a sport coat.
Yeah.
That has a logo on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Betting on your favorite sporting events just got a whole lot easier. Warhorse Sportsbook is now open in Omaha. Save yourself the drive across the river and put your money where your mouth is at Horseman's Park, 6303 Q Street. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
If you're looking for a safe and reliable vehicle to get you through all types of winter weather and more, Baxter Subaru has you covered. Symmetrical all-wheel drive comes standard on nearly all Subaru models and provides you better traction, improved stability, and maximized performance on wet and snowy roads. Subaru's all-wheel drive also enhances off-road capabilities. Get incredible deals and great lease offers today on all our new Subaru models. Or shop anytime at BaxterSubaruOmaha.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, end on a positive here. It's a great song, by the way. Very underrated. It doesn't get played enough. So that it's warming up. I can see that some snow is melting.
Yeah.
We're the warmest we've been in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else? This is primarily for Jimmy. Jimmy is would be perfect in Alaska.
I've been
told. In the wintertime. Do you know that I think, if I'm following my calendar correctly in the Farmer's Almanac, today will be the last pre-5 o'clock sunset before November.
In Omaha?
In Omaha.
Yep.
How about that?
You gonna be okay?
Noticed.
I think we're gonna make it.
You gonna be fine?
Yeah.
I noticed Saturday driving to Baxter at around 5:30. We still had daylight. It was looking good.
We've made it. We've made it through.
We're on the other side of this.
The deep freeze. It's warming up.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about shorts tomorrow.
More daylight.
Maybe. The sad thing is there might be a day this week that might happen, because when I went outside this morning, I was like, it feels balmy. I almost put the coat back in the house.
There will be shorts worn somewhere, that not just because they're coming from the gym or something. Yeah, someone's going to be at the grocery store tomorrow or wherever you might find yourself in Omaha, and someone will have shorts on. It never fails.
The car wash.
I'm going to wait a couple days for the car wash.
Probably should, because stuff is melting.
Yeah. Although I just
the subscription one didn't matter.
That's true. I
went in there yesterday, about 7 cars in front of me.
I need to get my car back to looking like it's normal white. Yeah, because it's filthy.
All right. Tomorrow we'll talk some hoops ahead of Double Dip for Red Nebraska and Blue Nebraska. Plus more on the NFL. And will there be something that happens in Ann Arbor, Michigan today? I feel like we're in the last week of coaching decisions in the NFL. And what happens with Jim Harbaugh?
Harbaugh watch.
Yeah, boy, right now, considering that the portal opens for 30 days when a coach leaves, they have to hire Sharon Moore for familiarity to keep that intact, or people will go after Michigan's roster.
Jim, you did it again.
It's all coming up tomorrow. Crossover's coming up next.